Tang felt a bit awkward, thinking Shangguan Jing seemed even more imposing than the commune secretary, not daring to breathe too loudly. I'm Nian Nian's friend. You can just call me by my name, Grandma Tang, Shangguan Jing said with a smile. Comrade Shangguan. Tang Mantong approached to greet her, still holding Joanna's hand. Joanna's expression changed when she saw Shangguan Jing, and she quickly turned her head, hoping not to be noticed. But Shangguan Jing had already seen her. She glanced at their joined hands and smiled, saying, "Congratulations, Manager Tang." "Thank you." Tang Mantong didn't notice the tension between the two women. Tang Nian looked between Shangguan Jing and Joanna and directly asked, "Jing Jie, do you know my uncle's girlfriend?" Judging by Joanna's guilty look, it was clear they weren't friends. "I don't know her. I don't know her at all." Joanna denied it vehemently, sweating noticeably, which even Tang Mantong and Grandma Tang picked up on. "Once, we met briefly," Shangguan Jing said calmly. "She never lies. If she has seen someone, she has." "I forgot. Maybe we really have met." "Mantong, let's go up. My parents are still waiting for us." Joanna pinched Tang Mantong's hand. She didn't want to stay, even a second longer. "I have something to do, so I'll leave first."
"Goodbye."
Shangguan Jing smiled and left, her back straight and steady, just like her personality. Joanna visibly relaxed. Her behavior was too suspicious. Even Tang Mantong noticed and looked at her curiously, but he didn't ask anything. The Chiao family lived on the second floor. They were in a rented apartment assigned by the government, with 2 rooms in total. The kitchen was shared on the first floor. This old building housed 7 or 8 families, making it feel very crowded. "Uncle, Auntie, this is my mom and niece," Tang Mantong introduced as he entered, placing the gifts on the coffee table. Joanna's parents sat on the sofa without getting up. They looked unhappy, and their expressions were uncomfortable. However, when they saw the 2 bottles of Mao Tai and canned rambutan, Joanna's mother's expression softened a bit, and she stood up. "Xiao Tang, we agreed to meet at 3 o'clock, and now it's 1:15. You really need to work on being punctual. If you act like this at work, your boss will have issues with you." Although Qiao's mother spoke in a teasing tone, it was clear she was scolding him. Yes, I will change in the future," Tang Mantong replied with a smile, agreeing readily. Qiao's mother was satisfied with his attitude, which allowed her to focus on caring for Tang Laotai and Tang Nian. She politely but distantly said, "Please, dear mother-in-law, have a seat. I was in such a rush that I didn't prepare anything. I hope you don't mind?" She brewed 2 cups of tea, and the leaves looked old. The coffee table had nothing on it, not even sunflower seeds. "You teachers are busy even on Sundays. You really are hard-working gardeners, even more than us farmers who work in the fields every day," Tang Laodai remarked with a forced smile, pointing out that they had agreed on the time 3 days ago. The excuse of being rushed was clearly insincere. She couldn't bear it. Mother Qiao's expression changed, feeling angry. How could an old woman from the countryside act so proud in front of her? "Mother-in-law, have some tea." "Little Tang, do you know your niece's name yet?" Mother Qiao sat down, smiling insincerely. Next to her, Father Qiao didn't stand up at all and wore a serious face. "Just call me Comrade Tang." Tang Nian didn't smile either. She wasn't the type to laugh much. As for the 2 cups of tea, she and Grandma Tang didn't even glance at them. The tea used to make tea eggs at her home was of better quality than this. Grandma Tang pushed the 3 cups of tea aside, forcing a smile, and said, "Actually, I don't agree with this marriage. After all, my son is young, and your daughter is a widow."
"My son would be at a disadvantage, Mom."
Tang Mantong whispered a reminder. "We adults are discussing things. Don't interrupt." Grandma Tang shot a fierce glare. She had come with good intentions, but if this family didn't behave, she wouldn't hold back. Tang Mantong helplessly fell silent, looking at Tang Nian, hoping she could help. Tang Nian rolled her eyes. She wasn't going to help. She was already holding back. Tang Mantong sat anxiously, silently praying, "Please, let these 2 not lose their tempers." The expressions of Joanna's parents changed, and Father Chiao huffed, clearly unhappy. Mother-in-law, to be honest, both Anna's father and I were initially against this marriage. Although Anna is in her second marriage, she is the jewel of our family. She is beautiful and has a respectable job. I'm not exaggerating. In the past 2 years, countless young men have pursued Anna, enough to line up from here to Nanjing Road. Mother Chiao said. Joanna blushed but felt a bit proud. No wonder she has had so many suitors. Grandma Tang's face turned serious, and her words darkened the mood for the Chiao family. My Anna has good morals. Even with so many admirers, she has remained pure and hasn't dated anyone in these years. If you say that, I might get angry, Mother Chiao said, her tone rising and her expression growing darker. Tang Mantong, do you really want to marry Anna? If so, there's no need to discuss this today. Father Chiao finally spoke, glaring at Tang Mantong. I do want to, uncle and aunt. Mom, let's sit down and talk properly. Tang Mantong felt overwhelmed. He didn't expect their first meeting to be like this. Grandma Tang held back her sharp words, deciding to give this young man a bit of respect. Mother Chiao also held her tongue. Her daughter was getting older, and while Tang Mantong had good qualities and was generous, she was still somewhat concerned that he came from a rural background. We definitely agree to the marriage, but even though Anna is divorced, she is still the treasure of our family. We cannot let her be unhappy in this marriage, Mother Chiao said. Of course, Tang Mantong nodded repeatedly. He would never make the girl he liked unhappy. Grandma Tang added, although our family is from the countryside, we will definitely show sincerity when it comes to marrying a daughter-in-law. Mother Chiao smiled more. She recognized the high-quality clothes worn by Grandma Tang and Tang Yinyan, which were worth several $100s. Don't worry, I only have Anna as my daughter, and we will treat Mantong like our own son, Mother Chiao said sweetly. Her words sounded nice, but Grandma Tang remained silent, glancing at the 3 cups of old tea on the table with a smirk. Treating him like a son, yet serving old tea that her family wouldn't drink even at 100 years old. Mother-in-law, may I ask how much bride price you are planning to offer? Mother Chiao inquired. The bride price will naturally follow the standards of the city, Grandma Tang replied without giving a direct answer, wanting to gauge their family's stance. Mother-in-law, there isn't a fixed standard for bride prices in the city. Some are as low as 100, while others can be 200 or 300, or even 1,000 or 2,000. It mainly depends on the sincerity of the groom's family, Mother Chiao said with a smile. Then how much do you think is appropriate? Mother Chiao thought she was really being asked to make a request, so she quickly pulled out a list from her pocket that she had prepared earlier and handed it to Grandma Tang. Mother-in-law, here are our requirements. Please take a look. Grandma Tang took it and handed it to Tang Nian. Tang Nian looked at the long list and thought, wow, this is quite a demand. 1,000 in cash, a sofa, coffee table, dresser, wardrobe, 8 immortals table, bed, at least 48 legs of furniture, a 14-inch TV, a fan, a tape recorder, a sewing machine, 1 women's bicycle, for cashmere coats, and the property on Nanhai Road in your uncle's name, changed to Joanna. Tang Nian read aloud firmly, and Tang Mantong's expression darkened. He didn't expect the Chiao family to make so many demands. Did they think he was easy to take advantage of? He glanced at Joanna and felt a bit hesitant for the first time. If Joanna was also involved in this list of demands, he needed to think carefully about this marriage. Grandma Tang listened, barely holding back her anger. She grabbed a cup of tea and took a sip. Wiping her mouth, she complained, "This tea is so bad it could be fed to pigs." The Chiao family changed their expressions. This was a clear insult. Mother-in-law, what do you mean by that? I made tea for guests, and you don't have to insult me if you don't like it, Chiao's mother scolded. Don't call me mother-in-law. We country folks can't afford that. Keep this list safe, don't lose it. Take your daughter to the market and hang this list at the pork stall. I bet some old man will take it. Grandma Tang slammed the list on the coffee table, showing no respect. Mom, please don't say that. Tang Mantong also looked unhappy. He really liked Joanna. Shut up. If you keep talking, I'll break your legs. How could you bring home such a thing? You made me come here to endure this nonsense. A widow asking for so much in dowry, thinking I'm an easy target? Hurry and get a scale to weigh this stuff. I can tell you, my family can afford it, but it depends on the person. Your daughter isn't worthy. Grandma Tang finally let out the anger she had been holding for days. What nonsense! Mr. and Mrs. Chow were so angry they were shaking, and Joanna cried, asking Tang Mantong through her tears, You just watch them humiliate me like this? Enough. Everyone be quiet. Anna, I just want to ask you, do you know about this list of demands? Tang Mantong picked up the list of gifts and hoped she was unaware. Joanna avoided his gaze, tears in her eyes, and asked, Didn't you say you loved me and would give me everything? To Tang Mantong, it was just a small matter, showing that his feelings for her were not as strong as he thought. With disappointment in his eyes, he set down the list and said to himself, So it was all planned by your family. I misunderstood and disturbed you. He turned to his mother and niece, saying, Let's go. Tang Mantong, what do you mean? Joanna, forgetting her tears, questioned angrily. Tang Nian Nian picked up the Mao Tai and rambutan from the table and mocked, It means my uncle is saying goodbye to you. Such fine gifts were not worthy of the Zhou family. The Zhou family was furious, having never seen someone return gifts that were offered to them. It was very rude. Typical country folks, no manners at all. It makes me so angry. Joanna's mother shouted. Yes, we may lack manners, but we wouldn't sell our daughters for a high bride price. You city folks really know how to be polite. Tang Nian Nian retorted loudly, knowing this marriage wouldn't happen, so she didn't need to hold back. Nian Nian, stop it. Let's go. Tang Mantong still had feelings for Joanna and didn't want things to get worse, so he pulled his niece away. Tang Nian Nian angrily shook off his hand and complained to Grandma Tang, Grandma, my uncle hurt me. With his stern face, Grandma Tang slapped her hand down and took her granddaughter away from the Zhou family, vowing never to return to such a place. Tang Mantong sighed and took one last look at Joanna before leaving, feeling quite upset. He never expected that his first experience with love would end like this. It wasn't about the money or the house. What bothered him was that Joanna's feelings for him were genuine, and her family's behavior was too much to bear. After marriage, his money would be Joanna's money. So, why did they have to calculate everything before the wedding? To marry a second time, they want 1,000 yuan as a betrothal gift, 48 pieces of furniture for cashmere coats, a 14-inch TV, a fan, a recorder, a sewing machine, and a bicycle. They also want a house. Ugh, even a starving ghost wouldn't ask for such ridiculous things. It's not like my family can't find a bride. Old Lady Tang stood at the door, loudly expressing her frustration before taking Tang Nian Nian away. She wouldn't let anyone bully her. She was determined to let the neighbors know how unreasonable the Chiao family was, so they wouldn't say later that her son abandoned someone. Tang Mantong didn't dare to speak up again, his hand still stung from the slap. I'll teach you a lesson when we get home. You blind fool. Old Lady Tang glared fiercely, satisfied to see a crowd of neighbors gathering, which lifted her spirits. Mantong, do you really have to be so heartless? From the second-floor window, Chow Anna peeked out, looking pitiful and tearful. Tang Mantong hesitated, stopping in his tracks. Miss Chow, your family's expectations are too high. My family can't afford the betrothal gifts you want. We don't have 1,000 yuan, a house, or the money for a TV, a recorder, a bicycle, a sewing machine, a fan, or even 4 cashmere coats and 48 pieces of furniture. It would cost thousands to marry you, and my family can't manage that. Old Lady Tang raised her head, speaking firmly but politely. Xiao Anna turned pale, tears streaming down her face as she looked at Tang Mantong with deep emotion and a sense of injustice, resembling a delicate flower. Mantong, you say you love me and are willing to give everything for me. Is this really your love? Xiao Anna questioned him confidently, knowing well about Tang Mantong's ability to earn money. She didn't think her mother's list of betrothal gifts was unreasonable, believing she was unique and deserving of such a high price. Tang Mantong opened his mouth to respond but was suddenly elbowed in the side, causing him to wince in pain. It was Tang Nian who had nudged him, and old lady Tang looked at her granddaughter with approval. Among all her children and grandchildren, Nian was the one who truly understood her. "All right, I don't understand your romantic feelings, and don't ask my son about this marriage. Miss Chiao, you should find someone better." Grandma Tang remained polite and didn't speak harshly. In front of others, she had to maintain her family's image and not bring shame to the Tang family. After saying this, she pulled hard, nearly causing Tang Mantong to fall. "Let's go." Grandma Tang shouted angrily and deliberately raised her voice, saying, "Forget about this. Are you willing to let the whole family suffer just to marry a wife? Hurry up and leave." "Mom, I didn't." "Ouch. Be gentle." Tang Mantong wanted to say he could afford the expenses without making the family suffer, but he felt a sharp pinch at his waist that hurt a lot. Tang Nian came over, grabbed his other hand, and, along with Grandma Tang, dragged the confused young man away. Joanna sadly closed the window. She regretted agreeing to her parents' high demands for the bride price. After finally finding someone like Tang Mantong with such good conditions, she thought she would have a comfortable life after marriage, but now it was all falling apart. "Don't cry. I see that Tang still has feelings for you. Let me tell you, men are easy to comfort and parents can't resist their children. In a few days, go find Tang, say some sweet words, and shift the responsibility onto me and your dad. Just say you initially disagreed, but couldn't go against us. You can figure out how to say it. As long as you win Tang over, that old lady won't be a problem." Joanna's mother wasn't worried. Her insight was sharper than anyone else's. She could tell Tang Mantong still had feelings for her daughter. As long as a man still likes a woman, things can be resolved easily. "Mom, what about the bride price?" Joanna stopped crying and felt more at ease. "We won't change the house title for now. I was a bit too hasty. We'll think about changing it after the wedding. Right now, your priority is to win Tang's heart. Even if there's no wedding banquet, you need to figure out how to get the marriage certificate and take control of the family finances. Then you can buy whatever you want without worrying about anyone else's opinion." Confident, Joanna's mother remained calm, like a general commanding a battle, not at all flustered. His mother and cousin are quite difficult to deal with. Joanna pouted. She didn't like Grandma Tang and Tang Nian. "Use your brain. That old lady lives in a rural area of Zhejiang province, and she has sons and grandsons. How could she possibly stay in the city every day? Her niece is already married, and no matter how much she tries, she can't control her uncle and aunt's private matters. In the future, you and little Tang will live in a big villa in the city, without in-laws or sisters-in-law, and plenty of money to spend. Life will be so enjoyable." Joanna's mother glared at her daughter and patiently broke down her analysis. She had always been very satisfied with Tang Mantong, but didn't show it, wanting to raise her daughter's value. The list of bride prices was intentionally brought out as a test. If Tang Mantong agreed, it would be the best outcome. If he didn't, that was fine too. It would just mean her daughter would have to work a little harder to win him over. In the future, they could deal with the Tang family with more understanding, spending less time in Tang village and more in the city, avoiding contact. Joanna's mother was at home teaching her daughter how to win over men, unaware that chaos had erupted in the neighborhood. The neighbors gathered together, whispering about the gossip surrounding the Chiao family. The Chiao family really dares to ask for so much. Their daughter from a second marriage is priced higher than a first marriage. Do they think their daughter is a beauty? Fortunately, little Tang's mother isn't easy to deal with either. I doubt this marriage will happen. Not necessarily. I think little Tang still has feelings for Joanna. No matter how strict the parents are, they can't be too harsh on their son. It might still work out. Can that young man really come up with such a large bride price? He drives a car and reportedly owns a house on Nanhai Road. He has plenty of money. The neighbors felt both disdain and envy towards Joanna. No one wanted this marriage to succeed. They all hoped Tang Mantong would come to his senses and quickly break up with Joanna to marry someone else. It wasn't that the neighbors were petty, it was mainly because the Chiao family had a poor reputation. They were all proud and looked down on others, considering their neighbors rude and uncultured. Even if they were uncultured, they wouldn't sell their daughter. There's a saying in opera, "Those who are righteous often harm the innocent, while the heartless are usually well-educated." It fits the Chiao family perfectly, someone remarked. Everyone agreed. It was indeed true. Do you all remember that man who was with Joanna?
What a nice guy.
He was always friendly and did all the chores at home. Joanna didn't even have to wash a dish. She lived more comfortably than a wealthy woman. It's a shame that good people don't get rewarded. A neighbor sighed, recalling Joanna's late husband. Of course I remember him. He was a good man. Too bad he didn't marry a good woman. My niece's brother-in-law's family lived in the same alley as that young man. They said his illness was diagnosed early, and the doctor said there was a good chance of recovery, but it would cost some money. The young man calculated that the money he saved before and after getting married, plus a little borrowed, would be enough. But when he asked Joanna for help, she said she had spent it all and her family wouldn't lend him any. That young man was pitiful. He was ruined by Joanna's family. An aunt who knew the details defended Joanna's late husband. Joanna's family should be afraid of karma. They're shameless about money. They don't care. The neighbors shook their heads, looking down on Joanna's family. Tang Nian hid around the corner, listening carefully, and then quietly left. Grandma Tang and Tang Man Tong were waiting in the car. When they saw her, both had hopeful expressions. However, they were thinking different things. Grandma Tang wanted to hear proof that Joanna wasn't a good match, while Tang Man Tong hoped to clear Joanna's name. What did they say? Grandma Tang asked anxiously. Not much. The Joanna family is worse than trash in the alley. Uncle, your taste is really poor. In such a big city, you picked out a piece of trash. Tang Nian scoffed, not holding back her sarcasm. Grandma Tang shot a fierce glare at her son and said, his eyes must be blinded by trash. He thinks trash smells good. Tang Man Tong didn't dare to speak. One was his mother, and the other was his niece, both of whom he couldn't afford to offend. Tang Nian recounted everything she had just heard. Ugh, that whole family is heartless, spending the money meant to save their former son-in-law. They should be afraid of karma. Grandma Tang cursed loudly, having never seen such greedy people. Thank goodness the marriage didn't happen. Tang Montong's face looked very grim. He didn't expect Joanna to have such a past. It was quite heartless. Uncle, if you really marry Joanna, you must ensure you are wealthy and healthy for life. If you ever get sick, just wait for Joanna to take the money and run. Tang Yin said coldly. Not only will she take the money, but she might also betray you. That woman is capable of it. Tang Laotai added another harsh remark. Tang Montong's face turned dark, and his teeth clenched tightly. I'll drive. Uncle, you should calm down. Tang Nian pulled him out of the driver's seat and took over. On the way back, Tang Man Tong remained silent. They first returned to the military district before Tang Man Tong drove them home. Third, let me be clear. If you continue to have anything to do with Joanna, don't come back to the Tang family, and don't visit your father's grave. Tang Laotai made it clear. She absolutely opposed Joanna joining the family. If Tang Mantong insisted on marrying her, she would kick him out. Understood. Tang Mantong replied in a low voice, troubled as he left. Tang Laotai snorted. She could tell her son still had feelings for Joanna. What a disappointment. Aunt Zhang quickly came over to ask about the meeting. Tang Laotai shared everything, even mimicking Joanna's parents' snobbishness. Her father was glued to his seat. From the moment we arrived until we left, he didn't move an inch, not even a sound, acting like his wife had cheated on him. Her mother is like a smiling assassin. She smiles on the outside but watches everything I take, secretly plotting how to hurt my son. Just look at her. Tang Laotai imitated Joanna's mother, lifting her chin and squinting her eyes, her smile not reaching her eyes, which made Aunt Zhang laugh. When they heard about the exorbitant bride price, Aunt Zhang was left speechless for a long time before saying, "Wow, with that much money, I could marry 30 brides back in my hometown, and each month would be a different one. Tang Laotai rolled her eyes. What are you talking about? Our Tang family is a respectable, honest family. Marrying 30 women is something only wealthy landlords do. The Tang family cannot act recklessly. Aunt, I was just making an example. Don't be upset. Anyway, since we won't be related, we won't have to deal with each other in the future. Aunt Zhang comforted. Old Lady Tang sighed. What worried her now was that Tang Mantong was still not giving up on Xiao Anna. The next day, Tang Nian Nian went to find Shangguan Jing to ask about Xiao Anna. She chose the lunch break, and as Shangguan Jing just got off work, she called ahead and waited at the entrance of the office. At the entrance, there were many people coming and going. Tang Nian Nian noticed a man pacing at the door, occasionally looking inside, clearly waiting for someone. The man was about 30, wearing glasses, looking refined and well-dressed in a dark blue suit, with a pen in his pocket, indicating he was educated. However, his hair was a bit messy, and his shoes looked a little dusty. Tang Nian Nian glanced at the man and then turned her head, focusing on waiting for Shangguan Jing. Shangguan Jing quickly walked out, still wearing the same outfit from yesterday, looking steady and elegant. She waved happily when she saw Tang Nian Nian from a distance. Tang Nian Nian waved back and took a few steps toward her, but someone was faster. It was the man in the suit. Xiao Jing. The man ran over with a joyful expression, calling her in a familiar way. Shangguan Jing frowned, took a few steps back, and said sternly, "What are you doing here? I made it very clear last time. We are divorced, and I will not go back. Ouyang Qing, don't make me lose respect for you." Xiao Jing, it was all my fault before. I will change. I truly regret it. Can you give me another chance? Don't our 8 years together mean anything to you? Ouyang Qing pleaded desperately, trying to reach for Shangguan Jing's hand. Tang Nian Nian stood a short distance away, clearly hearing that this man was Shangguan Jing's ex-husband, now trying to reconcile. Don't say 8 years. Even if it were 80 years, once I got involved with something dirty, I wouldn't look back. Ouyang Qing, you are the one who betrayed our marriage. Don't act pitiful in front of me. Don't you think you look disgusting right now? Shangguan Jing sneered, feeling truly sickened, even more than if she had eaten something terrible. She hated herself for wasting 8 years on such a man. Xiao Jing, I just couldn't resist temptation for a moment. Joanna charmed me, but I kept rejecting her. Really, believe me, that day was all her doing. You have to trust me. Ouyang Qing pushed all the blame onto Joanna. Shangguan Jing could no longer hold back and said, "Enough. You don't even have the courage to admit your mistakes. You disgust me even more than Joanna does. Leave, and don't show up in front of me again." Xiao Jing, why do you have to say such harsh things? You still have feelings for me. Otherwise, after 3 years of divorce, why haven't you remarried? Aren't you just waiting for me? Ouyang Qing not only didn't leave, but also said something even more repulsive. He felt proud, thinking that Shangguan Jing's single status meant she still had feelings for him and was waiting for him to change his mind. He initially thought Shangguan Jing would come to him for reconciliation, but after waiting a long time without her doing so, he decided to soften his approach and admit his mistakes. Ouyang Qing was confident about this visit, believing that Shangguan Jing would not refuse him. He had heard that Shangguan Jing had been successful in her career over the past 3 years, unlike him, who had made no progress. He needed her support, and having a wife like her, beautiful, with a respectable job and a good education, would make him look good, far better than someone like Joanna. Xiao Jing, I've come to you like this. What more do you want? Do you really want me to kneel and beg you? Ouyang Qing's tone became harsher. He felt he had given her a chance, but Shangguan Jing was not cooperating. A woman can be a bit temperamental at times, but going too far is unreasonable, and he didn't like unreasonable women. Shangguan Jing's face turned red with anger. She wanted to shout at him, but her upbringing prevented her from losing her composure in public. Ouyang Qing, I will say this one last time. We can never get back together. Even if you were in front of me, I wouldn't blink. Leave. Shangguan Jing shouted the harshest words of her life. Tang Nian Nian shook her head. Yelling at a scoundrel was useless. The best way to deal with him was to fight. Many people had gathered around, recognizing Shangguan Jing and whispering among themselves. Shangguan Jing felt embarrassed and angry, ready to leave, but Ouyang Qing grabbed her hand. Tang Nian frowned, preparing to confront the scoundrel. Someone was faster than her. Tang Mantong. What are you doing? Harassing a lady in broad daylight? Do you want trouble? Tang Mantong pushed Ouyang Qing away and stood protectively behind Shangguan Jing. He had come to ask Shangguan Jing something and had rushed over upon seeing the harassment. Xiao Jing, what is your relationship with him? Ouyang Qing, looking furious, questioned her as if he had been betrayed. I have a comrade relationship with Shangguan. Besides, what our relationship is to you? Who do you think you are? Leave, or I'll make you regret it. Tang Mantong grabbed Ouyang Qing's collar and lifted him effortlessly. Dealing with someone like Ouyang Qing was easy for Tang Mantong. Let go of me. Ouyang Qing struggled, gasping for air, his legs flailing in the air, looking ridiculous. Tang Mantong scoffed and released him, causing Ouyang Qing to fall to the ground. Shangguan Jing, I'm so disappointed in you for associating with such a rough man. You're just lowering yourself. Ouyang Qing got up and shouted from a distance. Leave. You, a man who cheats while married, have no right to judge others. Get lost. Furious, Shangguan Jing threw her bag at Ouyang Qing, hitting him on the head. A brick was handed to her, and in her anger, she took it without thinking and threw it at Ouyang Qing. However, her aim was off, and the brick landed at his feet with a loud thud, startling Ouyang Qing and making him look at Shangguan Jing with more disdain. I didn't expect you to be so rough now. It seems that being around bad people has influenced you. You really disappoint me. Ouyang Qing looked at her as if she had fallen from grace, which made Shangguan Jing feel like she could explode with anger. Another brick was handed over thoughtfully, and Shangguan Jing gritted her teeth and threw it, but this time she still missed, and Ouyang Qing escaped. It's okay. Tang Nian patted Shangguan Jing on the shoulder. Thank you both. Shangguan Jing expressed her gratitude, relieved to have these two around. Otherwise, she would have been overwhelmed with anger alone. Don't be upset. That jerk isn't worth it. Let's go eat. It's on me. Tang Nian pulled her to eat, and Tang Mantong followed, as he had questions to ask. There was a restaurant nearby, and Tang Nian ordered braised fish, braised pork chops, stir-fried vegetables, and a 3-flavor soup. The three of them ate until they were almost full. Jingjia, can I ask you something? Joanna used to be with that jerk, right? Tang Nian asked directly. Her uncle had hesitated several times, which made her frustrated. Tang Mantong almost dropped his spoon into the soup, chuckling awkwardly. His ears perked up. Shangguan Jing put down her chopsticks, swallowed her food, and said, I don't like talking behind people's backs, but since you are involved, you have the right to know. Joanna and Ouyang Qing, who is that jerk, were together when I was still married to him. Our relationship had no issues at that time. I'm sure Joanna knew Ouyang Qing was married, because she once came to me to mock me. Tang Mantong clenched his teeth, shocked to learn that Joanna had such a side to her. That's all I know about Joanna. I don't have any other information. After saying that, Shangguan Jing lowered her head to eat, no longer commenting on Joanna. She didn't actually hate Joanna. The real issue lay with Ouyang Qing. The man's inability to resist temptation was the root cause of their broken marriage. Even without Joanna, there would be others like Li Anna or Wang Anna. Tang Nian glanced at her uncle, who looked upset, and said to Shangguan Jing, Thank you, Jingjia. Thank you for helping me out just now. I really couldn't handle that jerk on my own. Shangguan Jing smiled, but there was a hint of bitterness in her smile. She had been with Ouyang Qing for 8 years and had thought he was the one she would spend her life with. However, after only 2 years of marriage, he betrayed her, and now he was still bothering her like a nuisance. It wasn't that she still had feelings for Ouyang Qing. She was just sad about the love she had wasted on such a jerk. 8 years down the drain felt like a huge loss. If that jerk comes back to cause trouble, you need to be tougher. There's no need to be polite with someone like him. Tang Nian thought for a moment, then took a knife out of her bag and placed it on the table with a loud thud. Shangguan Jing was startled. What was she planning to do? Tang Mantong quickly said, "Put the knife away. Don't scare anyone." The other customers at the tables turned to look. If she didn't put away soon, the police would probably be called. "This knife isn't sharp. It won't hurt anyone, just meant to scare," Tang Nian said. She pulled out the knife and poked it at Tang Mantong, confirming it was indeed dull. She had taken it from her storage. It was perfect for scaring off bad guys. The customers relaxed, and the server, who had picked up the phone to call the police, put the receiver down. Shangguan Jing picked up the knife and examined it, smiling. "Thank you. I'll keep it." She really should be braver and not always rely on others. Next time Ouyang Qing bothers her, she would stand up for herself. "Why thank me? It's everyone's duty to deal with bad men." Tang Nian said this matter-of-factly, and then turned to Tang Mantong. "If you're still with that Joanna, Grandma will definitely be furious with you." Joanna's parents were greedy and snobbish, which wasn't a deal-breaker, but if she acted inappropriately, she could never be accepted as part of the family. Tang Mantong sighed, feeling quite upset. He had genuinely liked Joanna and invested real feelings and effort into their relationship, never expecting it to end this way. After dinner, Shangguan Jing went back to work. Tang Mantong headed home to calm down, and Tang Nian returned to report to Grandma Tang. "Don't tell Grandma just yet. I'll talk to her myself," Tang Mantong said as he left. "I'll tell her when I get back." Tang Nian let out a cold snort and rolled her eyes. Most men were quite disappointing. They knew Joanna had a bad reputation, but still couldn't let go of their feelings. If it weren't for her long-standing bond with her uncle, she would have definitely confronted him. "Do whatever you want." Tang Mantong felt helpless. He couldn't fight her and didn't dare to scold her, so he decided to let it go. After all, he wouldn't be marrying Joanna. When Tang Nian returned to the military district, her car had just stopped when Grandma Tang rushed over, followed by Aunt Zhang, both looking eagerly at her.
"Come home and talk."
Tang Nian closed the car door, and the three of them went inside. Aunt Zhang kindly made her tea and brought out freshly fried savory spring rolls, golden and crispy, which were Tang Nian's favorite. Aunt Zhang used to only make sweet spring rolls, but after coming to the city, she learned to make savory ones. The filling was made from shredded yellow bean sprouts, black fungus, carrots, and fresh meat, all stir-fried with a little salt, making it very delicious. The savory spring rolls were juicy and tasty. Tang Nian loved these spring rolls. She quickly ate 3 and was about to grab a 4th when Grandma Tang, who was waiting impatiently, slapped her hand away. "Stop eating and hurry up and tell us." The spring roll in Tang Nian's hand fell onto the coffee table. She reluctantly picked it up and ate it, then took a sip of tea before sharing what she had found out. "I told you this woman isn't good. She's definitely trouble." Grandma Tang slammed her hand on the coffee table in anger, gritting her teeth as she scolded. "Aunt, we absolutely cannot let a woman like her into our family. It will bring chaos." Aunt Zhang advised. "As long as I am alive, that troublemaker will never enter the Tang family," Grandma Tang declared firmly. She believed in marrying someone virtuous, as her husband often said. Looks were secondary. What mattered most was good character and capability. Her eldest daughter-in-law, Su Jinfeng, had some flaws, but she was reliable on important matters and was timid, never daring to do anything wrong or cause trouble. Her second daughter-in-law, Xianjinju, was very satisfactory. She was beautiful, capable, and her family was easy to get along with, not the type to stir up trouble. Grandma Tang had high expectations for her youngest daughter-in-law. Tang Mantong was the most successful of her 3 sons, brave, clever, and lively. If he married a timid wife, he wouldn't be able to manage his life well. So, when Grandma Tang asked for introductions, her requirements were clear. A stable personality, graceful and dignified, someone who could handle situations well. Joanna did not meet any of these criteria. The more Grandma Tang thought about it, the angrier she became. Suddenly, she stood up to call and scold her son for choosing such a poor match. She was furious. Nana, uncle is feeling sad. Let him take his time. Tang Nian stopped her. Is he still sad? Is he still thinking about that woman? Grandma Tang was fuming. Aunt, they were together for a while, so there must be some feelings. Even if it's a cat or dog, you get attached after a long time. Aunt Zhang advised. Choosing that woman is worse than raising a cat or dog. They would be more sensible. Grandma Tang calmed down a bit and sat down, still upset. The mentioned dog, Bai Shui, proudly raised its head, thinking it was better than its owner's foolish uncle. 3 days later, Tang Mantong finally came home, looking okay. As soon as Grandma Tang saw him, she slapped him. How could you choose someone like that? You have no shame. Have you cut ties with that woman? Stop hitting me. I did cut ties. She came to see me yesterday, but I didn't let her in. Ouch, Mom. Be gentle. Tang Mantong covered his head and tried to escape, but still got hit several times. How dare she come to see you? Ugh. She has no shame. I warn you, if you dare to see that woman again, I will break your legs and kick you out of the Tang family. Don't call me Mom anymore, and don't go to your father's grave. I don't want to anger him into coming back to slap you. Grandma Tang's expression was serious. She was not joking. If Tang Mantong dared to go against her, she would throw him out, leaving her with only 2 sons. Mom, I won't see her again. Hearing her determination, Tang Mantong felt a chill and promised seriously. He had thought things through over the past 3 days. From now on, he would focus on his career and let love come naturally. Old Mrs. Tang felt relieved, but after Tang Mantong left, she reminded Tang Nian, keep an eye on your uncle. He can be quite foolish. Don't let some charming words from a temptress distract him and make him lose his mind. I know, Grandma. Don't worry. Tang Nian promised, determined to keep a close watch. Old Mrs. Tang stayed a few more days before returning to Tang Village. Tang Mantong drove her back, bringing many bags filled with things to show off in the village. None could be left behind. The college entrance exam was approaching. Each province had its own exam papers, and the exam dates varied. It started on November 21st and lasted a month. In Hucheng, the exam was on December 11th and 12th. The day finally arrived. Shen Xiao took a day off to drive Tang Nian to the exam. I'll wait for you outside. After the exam, we can go eat at Guanghui restaurant. Their braised pork chop is delicious. Shen Xiao spoke casually, as if he were taking his wife shopping. And I want braised fish too. Did you bring enough money? Tang Nian felt relaxed. She had prepared well. In her previous life, she had taken the Hucheng exam in 77, and the questions were quite easy for her. I have enough. Hurry and go in. Shen Xiao opened his wallet, showing enough money for a nice meal. Tang Nian smiled and confidently entered the exam hall. Shen Xiao returned to the car to rest. He had taken 2 days off just to support her during the exam. Compared to their calmness, other students appeared much more nervous. There was a wide age range among the candidates, from 17 or 18-year-olds to older men with beards, and even women carrying babies who had to feed their children before entering. Tang Nian felt a mix of emotions. The first college entrance exam only gave students 3 months to prepare, and many lacked proper materials, forcing them to copy from others. Many candidates are married with children and in their 30s, balancing work and study. Some, who are sent to the countryside as youth, have to work every day and can only study at night. There are also women in their breastfeeding period who, while caring for their babies, find time to study despite not having fully recovered. The conditions are very tough. There are 5.2 million candidates nationwide, but only about 300,000 get accepted into universities. These individuals are truly talented, with top-notch intelligence, determination, and resilience, making their achievements very valuable. The 2-day exam quickly concluded, followed by filling out college preferences. Tang Nian filled in every section with Fudan University. Tang Lujin and Tang Dongchang took the exam in Zhucheng and, having studied early, estimated their scores to be quite good. Tang Nian suggested they apply to universities in Hucheng. The siblings agreed, and both chose foreign language majors. After attending the Canton Fair, they decided their future career path would be in foreign trade. A month later, the college entrance exam scores were released. Tang Nian was accepted into Fudan University as the top science student, and Tang Lujin and Tang Dongchong were also accepted. Yu Lamei also got into Fudan University, majoring in Chinese, just like in her previous life. Suddenly, 4 college students emerged from Tang Village, causing a stir in the entire commune. Even the commune officials came to congratulate them. Grandma Tang felt like she was floating, hardly touching the ground. We're hosting a feast and inviting the whole village. Grandma Tang was very generous, deciding not to charge the villagers for the celebration, just to share the joy. The 3 brothers Tang Manjin fully supported this. Ever since they learned their scores, they had been tight-lipped, carrying packs of cigarettes wherever they went, offering them to others. They would say, "What a beautiful day. My daughter, niece, got into Fudan, first place. The other 2 did well too, they all got in." Even Tang Manjin, who usually doesn't say much, has been boasting about his 2 daughters getting into college, and his nephew also being accepted. Naturally, the villagers praised them, but secretly planned for their own children to study hard, determined that they must get into college next year. The graduation banquet was held on New Year's Eve, and the acceptance letters had already arrived. Grandma Tang had the 2 pigs she raised slaughtered, and Tang Nian took out a lot of beef, lamb, and seafood from her storage, telling Grandma it was bought through connections. The chef they invited was surprised. He had been cooking for 30 years, but had never hosted such a grand banquet. He didn't want to disappoint, and put all his skills to use. Grandma Tang also invited the Yu siblings. Several banners were hung at the village entrance, saying, "Congratulations to Tang Nian for becoming the top science student in the city and being accepted by Fudan University. Congratulations to Yu Lamei for being accepted by Fudan University. Congratulations to Tang Lujin for being accepted by City University. Congratulations to Tang Dongqiang for being accepted by City University." The red banners with golden letters fluttered in the wind, their words elegant and beautiful, written by the commune secretary, who personally requested them. Everyone in the village, young and old, came to the banquet. Even those who usually had disagreements with Grandma Tang were invited. The tables and dishes were brought by the villagers, with about 200 tables set up, even spilling onto the road. Such a celebration had never happened in Tang Village before. The team leader was in charge of the banquet. He raised his glass and addressed the villagers loudly. "Today is a great day for Tang Village. For university students, our village's golden phoenixes will be the backbone of our country. Let's raise our glasses to wish these 4 children a bright future and great success." Everyone in the village stood up and echoed, "A bright future and great success." Then they all drank from their glasses. These 4 children have set a great example for us in Tang Village, showing that with hard work, university is achievable. Our village has a scholarship fund, and as long as the children are motivated, we will provide financial support for their education. I hope our village can produce more golden phoenixes who will leave Tang Village and become talented individuals for our country. The team leader became more and more excited, his eyes reddening. In his lifetime, Tang Village became prosperous. Villagers could eat meat and wear new clothes, improving their material lives. However, spiritual nourishment was equally important. Therefore, his next task was to strengthen spiritual development, encouraging the village's children to study hard, aiming for everyone to become a university student. Once they succeed, they can give back to Tang Village and help make it the wealthiest village. The villagers were inspired by the team leader's words, clapping their hands enthusiastically until their palms turned red. They also want a college student in the family, so they won't let the child work anymore. Instead, they want them to study hard and aim for university, to work in an office, enjoy a stable job, and bring honor to the family. Delicious dishes were served one after another. Steamed crab, braised fish, braised pork, boiled lamb, sauced beef, and beef bone soup, all rich and hearty meals, with a variety of delicacies. The villagers had never eaten such a feast in their lives. Everyone enjoyed the food, eating with great delight, and any leftovers were shared by Grandma Tang, allowing the villagers to take some home. The banquet was joyful for everyone, but a small, unpleasant incident occurred. Nian Nian's father and stepmother also came to the banquet. After eating, they approached Nian Nian and asked her for the money from the county government, the commune, and Tang village. This time, only one student from the city was accepted into Fudan University, and the county government awarded 100 yuan, the commune 50 yuan, and Tang village 200 yuan from the scholarship fund. This scholarship totaled 350 yuan, a significant amount, which made Yu Qianjin and He Guixiang envious and eager to claim it for themselves. Your father is sick, and the family has no money. You should use that prize money for his medical treatment. He Guixiang casually made up a reason. She wanted to use that 350 yuan to find a beautiful bride for her son. Then let's go to the county hospital now. I won't refuse any necessary treatments or expenses. Nian Nian replied coldly, looking at her father, who appeared healthy. Yu Qianjin worked as a laborer in a factory, earning about 30 yuan a month, and since he didn't have to support her and her brother, the family was doing much better. How could he be sick? You are going to school now, so you won't have time for the hospital. Just give me the money, and I will take your father for treatment. He Guixiang reached out, impatiently insisting, when we divided the family property, it was agreed that if your father was sick, you would pay. If you don't care about your father's well-being, I will go to Fudan and complain to the school leaders. He Guixiang's tone was very threatening. She secretly hoped Nian Nian would refuse to give the money, giving her a reason to cause trouble at the school. She was determined to ruin this girl's reputation and get her expelled from school. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that. Under the pressure of the entire village, the couple, Yu Qianjin and his wife, returned home feeling defeated. They dared not cause any more trouble because the captain warned them that if they caused any more disturbances, they would have no second chances and their entire family would be expelled from Tang village. Yu Qianjin's job as a laborer was also suspended. The captain said he would evaluate his performance. If he did well, he might be rehired in the future, but if he did poorly, he would never work again. The couple was completely subdued. They earned 30 yuan a month, which helped their family a lot. Without this job, how would they survive? Their bad intentions were completely cut off. Although they were unwilling, they dared not cause any more trouble. They understood the importance of having enough food to eat. As a result, Yu Lame and her brother had a joyful new year. Just as spring began, they were preparing to report to school. Tang Lujin and Tang Dongchang arrived in Hu City a day early. They brought fashionable suitcases, bought for them by Tang Mantong, and the siblings dressed as well as the locals. Tang Nian Nian picked them up at the station and took them home for the night before they would report to school the next day. Second sister, Dong Chong and I can go to report by ourselves tomorrow. You don't need to take us, Tang Lujin said. Tang Dong Chong nodded in agreement. Your uncle will take you to school. I won't be going, Tang Nian Nian replied. She had no plans to take them. They were adults and could handle their own matters. Second sister, we'll come to visit you at your school in the future.
Tang Lujin Edgalim Etsitanli.
She still felt like she was dreaming. She had actually become a college student, which was unbelievable. However, she knew it was all thanks to her second sister. Without her encouragement and the valuable study materials she provided, she wouldn't have worked so hard, and it was uncertain whether she would have been accepted into college. Sure, Tang Nian Nian replied, happy to agree. When they arrived at the military district, Tang Nian Nian registered Lu Jin and Dong Chong, and they were allowed inside. After parking the car, she saw Zhao Chunmei dramatically rushing over, holding on to her son and daughter. Little Tang, let them touch you to share your talent, she exclaimed. Zhou Haiyang and Zhou Haixing, the siblings, blushed and turned their heads in embarrassment. Zhao Chunmei didn't care about their shyness. She insisted on shaking hands with Tang Nian Nian, claiming it was to share the success of a top student. Tang Nian Nian twitched her lips but did not refuse, allowing them to hold her hand. Little Tang, let my child touch too. And mine. Soon, many eager mothers joined in, bringing their children, even infants who were still being breastfed. Tang Nian Nian was hesitant to hold them tightly, afraid she might hurt them. Little Tang, You are amazing, a top student in science. Oh, when I go back home for the new year, I will tell everyone that we live next to a star student. They will be so envious. Zhao Chunmei exaggerated. The women exchanged glances, all looking at the empty house next door, which used to belong to Su Yan, and no one had moved in yet. They needed to quickly have their husband's request to move next to the star student. All the mothers had the same thought, but they kept it to themselves. Such matters had to be handled quietly. Tang Nian introduced her younger siblings, and when the mothers learned they had also been accepted into university, they let their children touch them again, satisfied before heading home. Tang Lujin and Tang Dongchang were embarrassed, their faces turning red. Some of the children they had just met were quite older, both boys and girls, which made them feel shy. Your children are raised so well. They are good-looking and smart. Truly wonderful. Zhao Chunmei praised them while looking them over, making the siblings blush even more, unable to look up. Your Haiyang and Haixing are great too. Give these to them. Tang Nian handed over a pack of bean cakes. You are always so polite. I won't be polite this time. Wait a moment, I brought you some food. Zhao Chunmei had prepared ahead and ran back home to bring a big bag of treats. This is flour bread. You can steam it to eat. This is fried dough, and this is a pancake that can be wrapped with any vegetable. The best is to wrap it with green onions, but unfortunately, I didn't bring any since the green onions here don't taste as good as those from my hometown. During the new year, Zhao Chunmei also took her children back home and brought back many local specialties, which she had set aside for Tang Nian. Oh, these buns are so beautiful, like works of art. Tang Lujin took out a beautifully crafted flower bun shaped like a peony, so realistic that it looked real from a distance. Tang Nian also presented a chubby little tiger bun, which was adorable. How long can this last? Tang Nian didn't want to eat it. It seemed too precious to consume. This is for eating, not just for display. You should eat it quickly before it spoils in the heat. Zhao Chunmei chuckled, still showing her childlike spirit. Seeing that Tang Nian hesitated, she added, Once you finish, I'll make you another one. Isn't it difficult to make this? Tang Nian asked. It's not hard. If you have hands, you can do it, Zhao Chunmei replied. In her hometown, making flour buns was a skill every woman learned, just like eating and sleeping, something they did from a young age. Tang Nian quietly looked at her hands. 2 words floated through her mind. Useless. Second sister, I think foreigners would like this flour bun, Tang Lujin said, picking up the little tiger bun. What? What do foreigners like? Zhao Chunmei didn't catch the whole sentence, only hearing foreigners. Feeling a bit shy, Tang Lujin glanced at her second sister. With Tang Nian's encouraging look, she gained confidence and exclaimed, I think foreigners would love these flour buns. We could start a flour bun factory, package them for export, and earn foreign currency. Can buns really be exported? Zhao Chunmei found it hard to believe. To her, flour buns were very common. In her hometown, they were made for festivals, birthdays, weddings, and ancestral offerings. She couldn't imagine such a regular item being exported. Don't underestimate these flour buns. Our Chinese civilization has lasted 5,000 years, and many things that seem ordinary to us are highly valued by foreigners. Just like the simple straw fans from our village, they are very popular and have earned us a lot of foreign currency. Tang Lujin spoke confidently, her fair and delicate face shining with assurance. Last autumn, she attended the Canton Fair and was amazed to see how much foreigners liked Chinese crafts. Moreover, at the fair last year, I overheard some foreigners chatting, saying that China doesn't have exquisite pastries. They claimed Western cakes can take many shapes. If they saw such beautiful flour buns, they wouldn't say such ignorant things. Tang Lujin became more and more excited. Previously, she had only stayed in Zhucheng and hadn't seen the wider world, so she didn't feel a strong sense of patriotism. But after seeing the world, her deep-rooted love for her country felt awakened, and she couldn't stand anyone saying anything negative about it. When she heard that, she wanted to argue with those foreigners, but her English wasn't good enough to win the argument. Plus, at that time, She didn't know about flower buns, so she couldn't effectively counter the foreigners. So she held back, thinking there would be a chance to confront those foreigners later. Zhao Chunmei suddenly stood up, angrily saying, "What have those foreigners ever eaten that's good? They treat that bitter coffee like a treasure. How dare they say we don't have good pastries? When we were making pastries, those foreigners were still eating raw meat. That's right, foreigners really haven't eaten anything good." Tang Nian agreed wholeheartedly. The food culture of foreigners, like their history, is too vast to cover in a single page. Encouraged, Zhao Chunmei became even more excited and exclaimed, "If you start a factory, I can provide the workers. The women in my village are all skilled, and the flower buns we make will surely amaze the foreigners." Tang Lujin was also excited and looked hopefully at her sister. She felt uncertain and didn't know if the flower bun factory could really be established. "We definitely won't make it for the spring fair, but if we hurry, we should be able to catch the autumn fair," Tang Nian said, her tone uncertain. If it were in Tang Village, she could guarantee the timing. But in Zhao Chunmei's hometown, she wasn't so sure, fearing that the local officials and people might not cooperate. "Xiao Tang, can this flower bun factory really be established? Can we earn money from foreigners?" Zhao Chunmei picked up a flower bun, still unable to believe it felt like a dream. "Whether we can establish the factory depends on the cooperation from your hometown," Tang Nian replied. "What kind of cooperation is needed?" Zhao Chunmei asked anxiously. "First, local officials must fully support this and avoid bureaucracy. Second, local residents need to follow the management and not act individually. These 2 points are essential, otherwise, the factory won't succeed." Tang Nian emphasized these 2 crucial points. As long as these 2 conditions are met, the factory can be established at any time. Zhao Chunmei hesitated. She couldn't guarantee success. Starting a factory is a big deal, and she needed to discuss it with her husband. However, she truly hoped to set up the flower cake factory to improve the lives of people back home. "Sister-in-law, if you really want to start this flower cake factory, go back home to investigate. I can provide funding and guarantee sales, but I can't promise anything else." Tang Nian was straightforward. The flower cake factory was not essential for her. Even if it were to be established, she planned to let Tang Lujin and Tang Dongchang gain experience, while she only provided the money and stayed out of other matters. "Okay, I'll call home to ask and let you know once I get a reply." Zhao Chunmei nodded in agreement, feeling confident that people back home would be happy about it. With someone willing to invest and guarantee sales, anyone with a bit of sense would agree. "Sister-in-law, how's the inquiry about the clothing factory going?" Tang Nian asked about the clothing factory. She had asked Zhao Chunmei to look into it before the new year, but there was still no news. The clothing factory situation is quite complicated. 6 people have already handled it, and now it's managed by Director Huang from the logistics office. I've approached him a few times, and he said there are a lot of messy accounts. Whoever takes it on will be in trouble, and he advised me to stay away. Zhao Chunmei reported honestly. She had a good relationship with old Huang, so she trusted his words, but she still felt a bit dissatisfied. Zhao Chunmei was frustrated because if the clothing factory couldn't be secured, she wouldn't be able to vent her frustrations on her husband. Moreover, she wanted a profitable job, so she wouldn't have to rely on her husband's mood in the future. Tang Nian frowned. Although she suspected the clothing factory situation was complicated, she didn't expect it to be this chaotic. However, she was not one to back down easily. She was determined to take on the clothing factory. "How many military wives do we have available?" she asked again. "There are 28 people without jobs, including me." Zhao Chunmei had already counted. Most of these military wives came from rural areas, and 16 of them used to work in a clothing factory, and the other 12 mostly know how to operate sewing machines. Tang Nian was satisfied with this number. It was just right for starting a clothing factory. "Sister-in-law, how much are the debts of the clothing factory?"
Can you get a list?
"I can. If you ask others, they might not be able to help, but you asked me, so I can. My husband Zhou and Huang are from the same hometown and have a good relationship. I'll get it." Zhao Chunmei was confident. The clothing factory was a mess that no one wanted to deal with, and the military district wanted to resolve it quickly. Unfortunately, too many influential people were involved, and no one wanted to offend anyone. She asked again, Xiao Teng, "Are you really planning to take over the clothing factory?"
It's quite complicated.
Huang told me that whoever takes over must first settle the debts, and that amount is significant. She leaned in and whispered a number to Tang Nianyan. It was an amount she felt she could never earn in her lifetime. Tang Nianyan smiled slightly. It's not a big problem. You go get the list. 18 or 19,000 was not a problem for her. But she couldn't just pay that amount without getting some real benefits in return. Okay, I'll go find Huang right now. Zhao Chunmei hurried off. Second sister, do you want to start a clothing factory? Tang Lu Jin asked. Yes, I'm bored. Tang Nianyan took a bite of a pastry that tasted very good, salty and fragrant. However, it was best eaten warm. When it cooled down, the taste wasn't as good. She planned to heat it in the oven later. After eating one, she stopped and drank some water to clear her throat. If you want to start a flour pastry processing factory, there are 2 points you need to pay attention to, Tang Nianyan said. Second sister, what are the 2 points? Tang Lu Jin immediately perked up, and Tang Dongqiang listened attentively. They also wanted to build a career, and they would be satisfied with even a fraction of their second sister's success. First, you need to start a trading company in Tang Village. Bring the flour pastries made by Sister Chunmei over and showcase them at the trade fair under the name of the Tang Village Trading Company. Do you know why? After Tang Nianyan finished speaking, she looked at her younger siblings, curious if they understood. Tang Lu Jin spoke first. Second sister, people from outside are hard to manage, and there might be unexpected issues, right? Tang Nianyan nodded slightly and turned to Tang Dongqiang, who hadn't shared his thoughts yet. Tang Dongqiang, feeling a bit shy, said quietly, I think the same as Lu Jin. If we stick together as people from Tang Village, it will be easier to manage, and we can also bring in foreign currency for the village. He paused and added, Lu Jin and I are outsiders and still young. The people from Sister Chunmei's side might not accept us. We're putting in money and effort to help them set up a factory, but once it's running well, they might turn against us. We need to be cautious. After they finished speaking, the siblings looked eagerly at Tang Nianyan, waiting for her response. You both are right. You've made progress. Tang Nianyan praised them, and their faces turned red, but their eyes sparkled with happiness. Also, the trading company shouldn't only focus on flour buns. There are many local specialties from Sister Chunmei's hometown. You should do some market research there when you have time. Tang Nianyan added this point, recalling that a place from Zhao Chunmei's hometown was famous for its kites, which foreigners also liked. Second sister, we have to wait until summer vacation to have time. Tang Lu Jin felt a bit disappointed. She wanted to go investigate right away, but still had school.
Good things take time.
This factory will be a good practice for both of you, Tang Nianyan said with a smile. Thank you, second sister. Tang Lu Jin and Tang Dongqiang nodded excitedly. Don't neglect your studies, or I will take back the factory immediately, Tang Nianyan warned seriously. Don't worry, second sister. We will definitely study hard. Lu Jin and Dongqiang said in unison. They had just gotten into college and wouldn't waste their studies. After giving her siblings a lesson, Tang Nianyan rubbed her stomach and said confidently, You two go cook. I'm hungry. With her younger siblings around, she couldn't do it herself and wanted ready-made food. What do you want to eat, second sister? What is brother-in-law like? Tang Lu Jin kindly went to the kitchen to cook, and there were plenty of ingredients at home, including chicken, duck, fish, and meat. Brother-in-law eats anything, just make a few dishes. Tang Nianyan yawned and let her younger siblings cook in the kitchen while she went to sleep. Aunt Zhang was not home. Her eldest daughter had been accepted into college, but her youngest daughter was struggling with her scores and needed to continue studying. Tang Nianyan suggested applying to a normal university in Hu City. Aunt Zhang's hometown was a small county in the north with limited opportunities, and since she had no son and her relationships with relatives back home were not good, it would be better for her 2 daughters to develop their careers in Hu City. Aunt Zhang, who listened well to advice, went back to her hometown to help her daughter with her applications. Tang Nian gave her a long break, and Aunt Zhang decided to come to Hu City with her eldest daughter to check in. Lunch was not ready yet when Zhao Chunmei excitedly arrived, only to see Tang Lujin and her siblings busy in the kitchen. "Where's your second sister?" "She's sleeping." "Aunt, please have a seat." Tang Lujin warmly welcomed her and even planned to make tea, but she hesitated to call her sister-in-law. Their second sister had said they should call each other by their names. "I can't stay. I need to go home and cook, but I'll come back later." Zhao Chunmei glanced at the delicious dishes on the table and then at Tang Lujin, who was working efficiently. Her admiration grew. She was truly a good girl, capable in both the kitchen and outside. She couldn't help but think of her eldest son, who was a squad leader in the army and had just turned 20, but still hadn't found a suitable partner. However, she quickly dismissed the thought, knowing Tang Lujin was a college student with such a talented sister like Tang Nian. Her son might not be good enough. "You sisters are truly exceptional, beautiful and capable," Zhao Chunmei sincerely praised. Tang Lujin shyly smiled and walked her to the door before turning to continue cooking. The delicious smell woke Tang Nian, and her stomach growled. She quickly got out of bed, washed up, and after eating, Zhao Chunmei came over with the clothing factory's account list. The accounts were a mess, making Tang Nian feel dizzy. After staring at them for a long time, she finally finished reviewing them. In summary, the clothing factory owed money to more than 10 companies, totaling over 189,000. Others have wanted to take over the clothing factory before, but no one wanted to invest that much money. Zhao Chunmei looked around and lowered her voice, speaking mysteriously. "Most of that money has gone into private pockets. No one wants to be the fool." Tang Nian didn't want to be taken advantage of either, so she planned to negotiate with the military district to get the best deal possible. Tang Nian is not in a hurry about the clothing factory. It is now 1978, and the reform and opening up documents will be issued in December. After that, she can start a private factory. She plans to partner with the military district, using their name, but she wants to hold the majority of the shares to have the most management and operational control. Negotiating now would not work, but after December it will be possible. Tang Nian is currently earning a good income, so her desire to make money is not as strong. Starting a clothing factory is just a way to pass the time. The next morning, Tang Mantong came to pick them up to take the children to school for registration. Tang Man-in and Tang Man-jin wanted to come too, but they were too busy with work at the factory. Shen Xiao took Tang Nian to the registration, and both cars left the military district at the same time. Everyone envied them. 3 students from one family. They heard that Aunt Zhang's daughter from the Shen family also got into college. The Shen family is truly lucky, and everyone wants to be their neighbor. Aunt Zhang called last night, saying she had arrived in Hu City and was staying at a guest house with her daughter, waiting to finish registration before returning to the military district. Tang Nian was pleased with her sense of boundaries. If Aunt Zhang had suddenly brought her daughter to stay overnight, she would have been unhappy. Even her own relatives must inform her in advance if they want to stay over. Tang Nian brought a light suitcase and bedding, as the school requires students to stay on campus, and she can only go home every Sunday. Shen Xiao parked at the school entrance and got out with the luggage. He wore a military green uniform, standing tall and straight like a cedar tree, making him stand out in the crowd. Tang Nian wore a black long coat and light beige pants. The coat had a waist tie, loosely knotted, accentuating her slim waist. However, her aloof demeanor made her seem unapproachable. Together with Shen Xiao, they were both the center of attention. The campus was even more crowded, filled with new students from all over, along with various registration stations for different majors. Shen Xiao, being tall, found the registration station for the mechanical and electrical engineering program and guided Tang Nian through the crowd. They walked carefully, as there were so many people, and many were carrying wooden boxes. If they got hit by a corner of a box, it could hurt. There were also many new students with scruffy appearances, looking older than average. Some even brought their families to help with registration. Tang Nian admired them. In just 3 months of study, they managed to get into Fudan University. These people are truly impressive. No wonder it's said that the first batch of college students has the highest value. At the registration office for the electromechanical major, most of the students were male, with very few female students. Tang Nian-Nian's presence caught everyone's attention. The registration process was not complicated. Tang Nian-Nian completed it in an hour and received daily necessities like bedding, mosquito nets, basins, and thermoses, which the school provided. The school also offered living allowances, divided into 4 levels based on family income. The highest level, A, provided 19.5 yuan per month, including 15 yuan in meal vouchers and 4.5 yuan in cash. Level B offered 17.5 yuan, Level C 15.5 yuan, and Level D 12.5 yuan. There was also a food allowance, with a maximum of 37 kilograms per month, usually for boys, while girls received about 30 kilograms. Tang Nian-Nian did not apply for it, as she didn't want to take up national resources. "Tang, why didn't you fill this out?" asked a helpful teacher at the registration office. Even the lowest level, D, offered a monthly allowance of 12.5 yuan. The teacher thought Tang Nian-Nian had overlooked it and wanted to remind her. "I'm fine with my own income, so I won't apply," Tang Nian-Nian explained with a smile. Everyone turned to look at Shen Xiao, originally thinking he was her brother, only to find out he was her husband. A few boys' hearts sank. They had planned to pursue the campus beauty, but their hopes were dashed. The boys had given Tang Nian-Nian the title of campus beauty, and no one disagreed. Tang Nian-Nian smiled at everyone and held Shen Xiao's hand as they left. Her assigned dormitory was 309, with 3 bunk beds accommodating 6 people. There were 2 classes in the electromechanical major and only 5 girls in total, leaving 1 bed for a girl from the automation class. 3 beds were already made, and Tang Nian-Nian was assigned the upper bunk, which she was quite happy with. After entering the dormitory, Shen Xiao went to get water and wiped the table, moving quickly. He made the beds, hung the mosquito net, and even put up a lovely floral curtain for Tang Nian-Nian's comfort. Once he finished, Shen Xiao returned to the military district as he had a meeting in Nanjing later that afternoon. By evening, all 6 students in the dormitory had arrived. They came from 6 different places, with only Tang Nian-Nian being local. The other 5 were from other provinces. Yuan Hongmei from northeast China, Lu Donxia from Hunan Province, Wu Wanhua from Hangzhou, Sun Dongxiu from Hunan Province, and Tong Xiaofang from the border area. Among them, Yuan Hongmei is 29 and Wu Wanhua is 28. Both are married with children and are the oldest in the dormitory. Lu Donxia is 27, but she is single and has a somewhat introverted personality. Sun Dongxiu and Tong Xiaofang are both 21 and unmarried. Even though it was their first meeting, they quickly became familiar and shared their struggles in preparing for college. My mom is from Shanghai, and she dreams of returning there, so she fully supports my decision to go to college. Tong Xiaofang has dimples when she smiles. Although she is Han Chinese, her features are quite distinct, resembling those of Uyghur girls, and she has very fair skin, making her very beautiful. Tang Nian-Nian understood immediately that Tong Xiaofang's parents must have been workers in the construction corps. In the 1950s and 60s, many unmarried girls were recruited to help with the development in Shanghai and Zhejiang, dedicating their lives to that work. My mom doesn't support my education and always wants to marry me off. My dad, however, supports me. He is a private teacher and helped arrange for me to be a substitute teacher at the village primary school, which gave me a chance to study. Sun Dongxiu's eyes turned red as she spoke, choking back tears. My mom said if I don't get into college this time, I must get married. I actually appreciate her. If she hadn't pushed me, I wouldn't have been able to stick with it. Girls her age in the village have already had 2 or 3 children, and she understands her mother's concerns. The gossip in the village is harsh, and the pressure on parents is immense. I divorced my husband and left my child behind. Wu Wanhua said this with a self-mocking expression. She is from Hangzhou, but she spent 8 years in the wilderness of Beidawang, where she got married and had children. We can't say I abandoned them. We are just temporarily letting go of our ties to reach greater heights, Yuan Hongmei said with a smile. Wu Wanhua's eyes also turned red. Although she was smiling, it was painful to see. He didn't support my college plans, burned the study materials I had worked hard to gather, and pressured me every day. On the day of the exam, he locked me in the house, and it was my daughter who secretly found the key and let me out. After the exam, I filed for divorce. I won't spend my life with a man who hinders my progress. Right now, I'm just worried about my 2 children, and he refuses to give them to me. Wu Wanhua had kept too much pain inside her. When she talked to her family, they didn't understand her. She didn't have close friends either. Today, she unexpectedly touched on a sensitive topic and ended up sharing so much. Don't rush about the child. Wait until you are settled in the city before figuring out how to bring the child over, Yuan Hongmei said calmly, her demeanor steady. Wu Wanhua nodded. That was her plan too. Yuan Hongmei smiled and said, my partner and I both took the university entrance exam together. He didn't pass this time and plans to try again next year at a school here. You came to study, so your husband is taking care of the child? Others asked with concern. The grandparents are taking care of them. My in-laws have more free time, and the child loves being with them, Yuan Hongmei replied with a smile. You are really lucky.
Wu Wanhua spoke with envy.
She and her ex-husband were both young workers from different provinces, and neither family could help. They raised 2 children entirely on their own, and only she knew the hardships involved. Yuan Hongmei was tall, had fair skin, dressed fashionably, and looked healthy and happy, clearly coming from a good background. A woman's well-being after having children shows on her face. She was only a year younger than Yuan Hongmei, but her complexion was pale, her hair dry, and her eyes dark-circled. Standing together, she looked at least 10 years older. We 6 are gathered at Fudan, which shows how fortunate we are. Good days are ahead. Yuan Hongmei's words inspired everyone, and Wu Wanhua felt her spirits lift. The youngest in our dorm is Xiao Tang. She's beautiful and talented, which makes her enviable, Yuan Hongmei said sincerely. At 29, Yuan Hongmei felt she had missed the best years of her life. Even though she was now in university, she still felt a sense of regret. Beauty is fleeting, but talent lasts forever. Luckily, we all have talent, Tang Nianyan said seriously. Yuan Hongmei and the others were momentarily taken aback, then smiled. That's right, we're fortunate to have talent. After their conversation, the bond among the 6 roommates grew closer, and Tang Nianyan gained a better understanding of her roommates' personalities. Yuan Hongmei is articulate, comes from a good family, is emotionally stable, and is smooth in her interactions, but she is not two-faced. Wu Wanhua is sensitive and strong-willed, with a tough personality. Lu Donxia is quiet. She only introduced her name and hometown and hasn't spoken much since. Her personality is currently unknown, but she is definitely not outgoing or lively. Tong Xiaofang is pretty and innocent, the most naive among the 6, possibly because her parents protect her and she hasn't encountered much malice in the world. Sun Dongxiu is stubborn, strong-willed, introverted, and competitive. Overall, Tang Nianyan feels good about these 5 roommates. They are not troublemakers. On the first night of school, Tang Nianyan slept at the school. She pulled down the bed curtain and went straight to sleep in her space because she couldn't sleep outside. Yuan Hongmei snored, Wu Wanhua ground her teeth, and Sun Dongxiu talked in her sleep. Tang's sensitive hearing amplified these sounds, making it impossible for her to fall asleep. The next morning at 6, the school loudspeaker played powerful revolutionary songs, and the dormitory became noisy, especially in the water room. The dormitory is designed like a long building with a central corridor, dorm rooms on both sides, and shared bathrooms and water rooms at each end. Mornings are the busiest time, and although there are more than 10 faucets, they are not enough. She could only fill her water back in the dorm to wash up. It was early spring, and the cold water was biting, so she had to mix it with hot water. Every morning and after school, the school provides boiled water for 1 cent per pot. Tang Nianyan got up early and filled 2 pots of boiled water, then went to the cafeteria for breakfast, which included a bowl of rice porridge, 3 fried dough sticks, and 3 meat buns to take back to the dorm. She was the first to wake up in the dorm. By the time she returned, the other 5 were just getting up and washing up. Wanhua, don't use cold water. Use my hot water. Yuan Hongmei poured hot water from her kettle into Wu Wanhua's basin.
Thank you, Wu Wanhua said shyly.
After washing up, she left and did not return to the dorm. Yuan Hongmei understood that the school living allowance had not yet been issued, so Wu Wanhua likely had no money, not even for boiled water. I'll head to the classroom first. We meet at 8 in the classroom, so don't forget. Yuan Hongmei said goodbye to everyone and took the last 2 buns to leave. Tang Niannian called out to her, I made too much for breakfast. Hongmei, could you please throw these away for me when you go out? She wrapped the 2 pancakes in paper and handed them over. Yuan Hongmei's eyes flickered as she accepted the pancakes and smiled. Sure. Throwing away such good pancakes is such a waste. Niannian, you should make less next time. Tong Xiaofang said with a look of regret, feeling a bit unhappy with Tang Niannian for wasting food. Okay. Tang Niannian readily agreed. Hurry up and eat, or you'll be late. Sun Dongxiu reminded, shifting Tong Xiaofang's attention. Yuan Hongmei took the pancakes and meat buns outside and found Wu Wanhua in the garden near the teaching building. She took out the warm meat buns and pancakes and handed them over, saying, Xiao Tang and I made too much. We haven't eaten these, so please help us finish them to avoid wasting food. Wu Wanhua had actually come out on purpose. She only had 50 cents left, which she wanted to save for emergencies. She wasn't very hungry yet, so she didn't plan to spend that money. Seeing the food in Yuan Hongmei's hands, she felt touched but also a bit awkward. She didn't want to be pitted. It made her feel incapable. Just eat it. No one has a smooth life all the time. Everyone faces challenges. You just have to get through them. Yuan Hongmei gently encouraged as she pressed the food into Wu Wanhua's hands. Thank you, Wu Wanhua said softly, her voice choked. She opened the newspaper, and the aroma of the pancakes and meat buns wafted out. She took bites, and the delicious flavors warmed her heart, giving her more confidence for the future. She was determined to succeed and to bring her 2 children with her. What's there to thank for? It's rare for us to share a dorm. We're like sisters now. Everyone has tough times, and we should help each other. If I have difficulties in the future, you won't just stand by, right? Of course. But I hope I won't need to, Wu Wanhua smiled. She wished for her dorm sisters to have smooth lives and not to suffer as she had. Haha, who knows what the future holds? Come on, let's go to the classroom. Yuan Hongmei laughed cheerfully, taking her hand as they walked towards the teaching building. They ran into Tang Niannian and the others downstairs. Wu Wanhua walked over to Tang Niannian and whispered, Thank you. You're welcome. Tang Niannian smiled slightly, feeling even better about Yuan Hongmei. She was in a good mood. All 5 of her roommates seemed normal, with no difficult personalities. She thought her next 4 years in college would be enjoyable. However, her good mood vanished when she saw the class advisor. Hello, students. I am your advisor, N.I. Junlon. N.I. Junlon wrote her name on the blackboard. She wore a camel-colored coat today and had cut her long hair into a short bob, looking quite mature.
Tan Nian Frau Wen.
She wasn't afraid of N.I. Junlon. She just felt annoyed at the thought of having to call her teacher N.I. in the future. N.I. Junlon shot a challenging look her way. She was originally from the mechanical and electrical class too, but she had applied to be Tang Niannian's advisor. She knew she couldn't compete with Tang Niannian academically, but she was older. Just thinking about how Tang Niannian would have to call her teacher, N.I. made her feel great. As the saying goes, once a teacher, always a parent, she could consider herself part of Tang Niannian's family now, which felt wonderful. Although N.I. Junlon didn't say anything, Tang Niannian understood her meaning and snorted softly. What a nice thought. Tang Niannian is the top science student in the college entrance exam from Hu City. She will serve as the class study representative. I hope she can work together with everyone to achieve excellent results. N.I. Junlin's revenge came quickly, making Tang Niannian take on a class leadership role. She simply wanted to give Tang Niannian something to do to distract her from studying. The classmates looked at her with admiration, especially the boys, whose feelings were quite obvious. I can't take that role. I have no time. I have a 70-year-old grandmother to care for and a baby who hasn't been weaned yet. My partner works a lot, and I have to support the family. Tang Nian spoke confidently. The old lady she mentioned was her little grandmother, and the children who were still nursing were the two little ones named Rice Dumpling and Soup Ball. However, she exaggerated a bit. Grandma Tang wasn't even 70, and Rice Dumpling and Soup Ball no longer drank milk. A few boys in the class, who were just starting to have feelings, suddenly felt their excitement fade. Such a beautiful and talented girl was actually married.
Sigh.
Tang Nian, where did you get those nursing babies? And Junlon laughed in disbelief, claiming she hadn't even had kids and was making things up. How do you know I don't have any? If you don't believe me, go ask old Zhang. Tang Nian threatened her, saying if she kept talking nonsense, she would tell old Zhang. And Junlon gritted her teeth and gave up on that idea. Instead, she let another high-scoring boy become the class representative, while Yuan Hongmei, a party member, was appointed as the group leader. Tang Nian held no position and felt free. There were 28 students in the class, with only 3 girls. Her, Yuan Hongmei, and Wu Wanhua. The electromechanical major had 2 classes. They were in Class 1, while Class 2 had 27 students, with only Sun Dongxiu and Lu Danxia as the girls. Tong Xiaofeng was in Automation Class 1. In the morning, there wasn't much to do, mainly meeting the counselor and classmates, and then getting textbooks. In the afternoon, they had free time to go out and explore. Xiao Tang, do you know Teacher and I? On the way back to the dorm, Yuan Hongmei asked curiously. I've seen her a few times, but we're not close. Tang Nian answered honestly. Yuan Hongmei didn't ask further and instead inquired about which bus to take to the department store, as she wanted to buy gifts for her parents-in-law and husband's child. I'm going home this afternoon. I can give you a ride. Tang Nian didn't know which bus to take since she had never ridden one before. Yuan Hongmei thought nothing of it, assuming Tang Nian rode a bike, and said with a smile, that sounds great. Tong Xiaofeng and the others had already returned to the dorm. She was lively and did most of the talking, while Sun Dongxiu and Wu Wanhua occasionally replied, and Lu Danxia didn't say a word the entire time. After lunch, I'm going to the department store. My mom gave me a list. I need to buy a lot of things. Tong Xiaofeng pulled out a long list filled with items that could only be found in the city, many of which were for others. The farm has many aunts from Shanghai and Zhejiang who have a good relationship with my mom. Before school started, they specially came to her house to give her a gift for my studies and even made a list for her to bring things. I want to go to the department store to buy some daily necessities. Sun Dongxiu said. Then, let's go together. Hongmei, Danxia, Wanhua, Nian, do you want to join us? Tong Xiaofeng asked each of them. I'm not going, Wu Wanhuan declined. I want to take a nap before going out. Lu Danxia also said no. I'm going. Xiao Tang said she would take me. Yuan Hongmei smiled. Let's go together. Tang Nian said, it doesn't matter if 1 or 3 people are going. How will you take us? Nian, can you do acrobatics? Tong Xiaofeng suddenly imagined Tang Nian riding a bike with several people standing behind her like a peacock, spreading its feathers. She didn't doubt Tang Nian's biking skills. She just lacked confidence and was afraid she wouldn't be stable. Tang Nian's mouth twitched. This girl is really straightforward. Yes, I can. Tang Nian wanted to tease her, and seeing Tong Xiaofeng's admiring expression made her feel good. Let's skip lunch and eat outside. I want soup dumplings and pan-fried buns. My mom talks about them every day, and I've been craving them for years. Tong Xiaofeng said while drooling. She had heard her mom talk about the delicious food in Shanghai since she was little, and today she wanted to enjoy it. Okay, I want crab roe buns, Yuan Hongmei agreed. I heard the wontons here are tasty, Sun Dongxiu laughed. Everyone agreed, and went out together. Yuan Hongmei and the others actually planned to take the bus since there was only one bike. When they saw Tang Nian open the car door, their eyes widened. Nian, you drive to school? Tong Xiaofeng stuttered a bit. She thought only important people could afford cars, and she didn't expect to have a classmate who drove. Big cities are indeed different. There are hidden talents everywhere. The company provided me with a car. Get in. Tang Nian smiled, and invited them to hop in. Xin Xiao didn't drive back yesterday because he was going to Nanjing for a meeting, and the military district had a special car for him. Yuan Hongmei and the others carefully got into the car, feeling very excited. It seemed like they were classmates with someone really impressive. Xiao Tang, you aren't a big official, are you? Yuan Hongmei asked. Sun Dongxiu and Tong Xiaofeng thought the same. I work at a factory and they provide a car to help me with my job, Tang Ninian casually explained. The car was just labeled with the factory's name. Both the car and the gas were hers. The factory manager has a car. Xiao Tang, you are really amazing. Yuan Hongmei admired her sincerely. Nian Nian, you can't be the factory manager, right? Tong Xiaofeng asked in surprise. I'm the deputy manager, but I don't have much responsibility, Tang Nian clarified briefly. She had already parked the car downstairs at the department store and let them out. Ask about the bus schedule. I don't know which route to take, she said. We 3 adults can definitely get back to school. You be careful on the way. Yuan Hongmei waved goodbye, and once the car drove away, they all sighed in relief. Wow, Nian is so impressive, Tong Xiaofeng said with admiration. Heroes are often young. Yuan Hongmei said calmly. Being older, she had a steady mindset. Sun Dongxiu remained silent, but she clenched her fists. The little pride she felt after getting into Fudan University had completely vanished. In university, there are many talented people just like Tang Nian. She felt she had no reason to be proud and decided to go back to school to study after shopping. Tang Nian returned to the military district. Aunt Zhang had arrived last night, bringing many local specialties, and Xin Xiao had also returned from a meeting in Jinling with lots of Jinling snacks, all stored away. For lunch, they had salted duck, steamed buns, and 2 dishes, 1 meat and 1 vegetable. After the meal, Aunt Zhang took out 2 pairs of embroidered shoes with a blue base and peony flower designs. The craftsmanship was top-notch, and there were also 2 beautiful embroidered insoles. My eldest daughter made these by hand. I told her to match the style of the cloth shoes you usually wear. Her skills aren't perfect. Let me know if they fit. Aunt Zhang said this, but she wasn't worried. Her eldest daughter had always been strong and did a great job with the household chores. Most of the clothes and shoes for her father and younger sister were made by her eldest daughter. During the years she was away, her eldest daughter had taken on much of the family's responsibilities, which made Aunt Zhang proud. Tang Nian admired the insoles she received. They looked unexpectedly nice, and it seemed like there were no handmade insoles like this in Zhucheng. How many days does it take to make a pair of these insoles? Tang Nian placed the insoles in her shoes and walked a few steps. They were very comfortable, especially with the fine stitching on the insoles that felt like a foot massage. It takes a whole day if you do nothing else, but you can finish them in half a day. Aunt Zhang wasn't too sure because in her hometown, women made shoe soles whenever they had free time and never set aside specific time to make a pair. They're quite comfortable. Please thank your daughter for me. Tang Nian walked a few more steps. These shoes were not only beautiful, but also much more comfortable than the leather shoes she had bought. What thanks? It's thanks to you that my daughter got into college and will have a government job. You don't know how jealous people in our village are. Even my in-laws and uncles came to plead with my husband, saying that families shouldn't hold grudges and that we are all blood relatives, so there's no need to create tension. Humph. I told my husband that if he reconciles with his parents and brothers, I will divorce him immediately and take our 2 daughters to live in Huqing. Aunt Zhang spoke excitedly, finally releasing the frustration she had held for 20 years. What did your husband say? Tang Nian asked. He listens to me and our daughter. She said we can only choose one side. If we choose the grandparents, then they will come with me to Huqing. My husband was so upset he cried, saying he would come with us and couldn't be left behind. Aunt Zhang laughed as she spoke, clearly pleased. She continued, if they hadn't been so harsh in the past, I wouldn't have been so tough. When they forced us out, I hadn't even finished my month of recovery after giving birth. They wouldn't even give me an egg, saying I didn't deserve it because I couldn't have a son. At that time, I thought that even if I starved or froze, I would never ask that family for help. Even though many years had passed, Aunt Zhang still felt angry when recalling the past. You all work together as a family, and things will get better and better. Tang Nian comforted her, supporting Aunt Zhang in not reconciling with her in-laws. Why should she? When times are tough, you remember the pain even after healing. You must hold on to your grudges. Forgiveness is for saints. Ordinary people should repay kindness with kindness and seek revenge for wrongs. That's right. I have good people supporting me, and things will definitely get better. Aunt Zhang wiped her tears and smiled happily. Her benefactors are Shun Xiao and his wife. Ever since she met them, her family's life has been improving steadily. Blessings and good fortune. A boy's voice came from the door, accompanied by a delicious smell. A yellow and a white figure dashed out like lightning, and then voices were heard at the entrance. Don't rush. Each of you gets 3. You've eaten so much of my field mouse meat. Can I at least get a hug?
Growl.
Bai Sui and Fu Bao growled, clearly not agreeing. They weren't going to be swayed by just a little mouse meat. You guys are hard to please. My dad won my mom over with 8 roasted mice back in the day.
Sigh.
The boy sighed sadly, wanting to leave. He didn't want to please these 2 cold dogs anymore, but he couldn't help it. In his 15 years, he had never seen such majestic and beautiful dogs. He really liked them. How many mice do I need to hug you?
8, 10, 12.
The boy looked eagerly at Bai Sui and Fu Bao. To show respect, he even knelt down to talk to them face to face. Tang Nian couldn't help but smile at the boy's antics. Where did this silly kid come from? That's the child of the new Colonel Yan who moved in next door, named Yan Zhongjia. They've been here for 2 days and love our Bai Sui and Fu Bao, catching field mice for them every day, Aunt Zhang explained quietly. Don't go. If I can't hug you, can I at least pet your head? Yan Zhongjia called out to Bai Sui and Fu Bao, who were full and ready to go home. He raised his hands in a pleading gesture, and Bai Sui and Fu Bao understood, reluctantly stopping to look at him, urging him to hurry. The roasted field mouse meat this human kid made was quite tasty. A quick pet wouldn't hurt, or else there might not be any meat left later.
Haha.
I finally got to pet you. So soft and comfortable. Yan Zhongjia was very happy, his hands busy. With his left hand, he petted Bai Sui, and with his right hand, he petted Fu Bao, even wanting to reach for their tails.
Roar.
Bai Sui bared its teeth, warning him not to go too far. Yan Zhongjia quickly pulled back his hands and smiled sweetly. After letting him pet them 3 times, Bai Sui and Fu Bao ran back home, without hesitation. Really hard to please. Yan Zhongjia stood up and sighed lightly, but he was still very satisfied. At least he got to pet them 3 times. People in the courtyard said Bai Sui and Fu Bao were very aloof, not even giving the military commander face. He was the only one in the entire military district who got to touch Bai Sui and Fu Bao's heads. Thinking this, Yan Zhongjia felt proud. He clapped his hands, ready to go home, and bumped into Tang Nian, who was opening the door. Beautiful sister, are you a fairy from the sky? Yan Zhongjia was stunned. No wonder Bai Sui and Fu Bao were so good-looking. They took after their owner. Tang Nian couldn't help but laugh. This boy would surely succeed in the future. He had good looks, was tall, came from a good family, and had a sweet tongue. He would do well wherever he went. You should call me Auntie. Tang Nian didn't feel she was taking advantage at all. She and the boy's parents were definitely of the same generation, so calling her Auntie was appropriate. Beautiful Auntie. Yan Zhongjia didn't hesitate at all. He was fine with any title, as long as, Auntie, can you tell Bai Sui and Fu Bao to let me hold them? No, they are mine. Only I can hold them. Tang Nian firmly refused, and seeing the smile fade from Yan Zhongjia's face made her feel even better. It felt great to tease a child. She took a salted duck and 10 salted duck eggs to visit her new neighbors. Commander Yan was not home. His wife was a beautiful woman in her 30s. According to Aunt Zhang, Commander Yan's wife was a dancer in the military art troupe and had only 1 child, Yan Zhongjia. The couple usually didn't pay much attention to their child, as they were workaholics. Hello, I'm Tang Nian Nian from next door. Tang Nian Nian knocked on the door and introduced herself.
Hello, I'm Gao Qian.
I moved in the day before yesterday. You're too polite. I haven't even visited you yet. Gao Qian wanted to make tea, but there was no water in the kettle. She felt a bit embarrassed and decided to go to the kitchen to boil some water. No need, I live next door. You don't have to be polite, I'll head back. Tang Nian Nian stopped her. The things in the house were not organized well. Everything was messy, and there weren't even any seasonings in the kitchen. Aunt Zhang was right. This couple hardly cooked, and the whole family ate at the cafeteria. I'm really sorry. My house is such a mess. Gao Qian felt very embarrassed as she walked her to the door. It's like this, because we just moved in. Tang Nian Nian smiled, understanding that if it weren't for Xin Xiao, her own home would probably be even messier. Gao Qian felt relieved. She sensed that Tang Nian Nian truly didn't mind. Unlike other visiting women who said it was fine but looked at her with disdain, they probably thought she wasn't fit to be a military wife or a mother. But she really didn't know how to do housework, not even making scrambled eggs with tomatoes. She thought the cafeteria food was quite tasty, it saved time, and it was nutritious enough. There was no need to waste time in the kitchen. However, many people, including her mother-in-law, didn't understand her. They thought she was lazy and used various excuses to avoid her responsibilities as a wife and mother. Fortunately, her husband and son supported her. To avoid her mother-in-law's nagging, her husband even moved them from Beijing to Shanghai so they wouldn't have to listen to her anymore. Wait a minute. Gao Qian suddenly slapped her forehead and called out to Tang Nian Nian. She ran back to her room to get a box of snacks from Beijing. These are snacks from Beijing. Take them home and try them. Thank you. Tang Nian Nian accepted the snacks, smiled at her, and opened the door to the yard. Not long after, there was some noise coming from next door. Oh my gosh, Yan Zhongjie. Don't come over here.
Stay away from me.
Don't call me mom. Just call me your ancestor, okay? Yan Zhongjie, you're in big trouble. I'll tell Dad to punish you tonight. Mom, didn't you eat this before? Dad said he won you over back then with 8 rats and you enjoyed it. Stop talking. Hurry and put that away. Your dad tricked me into thinking it was lamb. He cut it into pieces and skewered it, then sprinkled cumin and chili powder on it. How was I supposed to know? If I had known it was rat meat, I would never have married him. And I definitely wouldn't have had you. The mother and son were making a lot of noise, like they were performing a comedy routine. Tang Nian Nian was laughing and ran outside to see what was happening. Gao Qian stood at a distance, while Yan Zhongjie held a few field mice in his hands, which were still alive and squeaking. Throw them away quickly. Yan Zhongjie, I'm telling you, if you don't get rid of those mice, you can't come home. Gao Qian said firmly, as she was very afraid of mice. I won't throw them. Yan Zhongjie refused, as these mice were a special treat for Baisho Fubao. If necessary, he could just set up a tent in the yard at night. If you don't throw them away, you can't come home. Gao Qian threatened. Then I won't come in. Yan Zhongjie shrugged, not caring. His parents often wanted time alone, so he would stay with his grandparents for a few days until they were done, and then come back home. The commotion between the mother and son attracted quite a few onlookers. Gao Qian felt a bit embarrassed and shot a glare at her son, silently saying, just wait. When her husband returned, she would definitely tell him. Yan Zhongjie looked up unbothered. Zhongjie, did your dad really roast 8 mice while chasing your mom? Someone joked. Ask my dad. Yan Zhongjie replied mischievously. His dad always had a serious face, so no one would dare to ask him. Your mom won't let you in, and your dad will definitely listen to her. What will you do tonight? Someone laughed and asked. I'll just chill. Yan Zhongjie grinned, not taking the situation seriously at all. If your dad won't let you in, come sleep at my house. Zhao Chunmei offered. No way, Zhou Haiying said his dad snores louder than thunder at night. Yan Zhongjie declined, preferring to set up his own tent. Everyone burst into laughter, enjoying Yan Zhongjie's boldness and quick wit. He was a clever kid, a good candidate for the army. Later that evening, after dinner, Tang Nian climbed over the wall and saw Yan Zhongjie standing in the yard. Because Chief Yan had told him to throw away the field mice and he refused, he had to stand in the yard for 2 hours as a consequence. Come here. Tang Nian waved her hand. Yan Zhongjie's eyes lit up, and he tiptoed over. Have you eaten yet? Tang Nian asked. Yan Zhongjie shook his head, and his stomach made a rumbling sound. He planned to finish standing still, and then go to the cafeteria to ask Uncle Zhao for a bowl of noodles. Uncle Zhao was the head of the cooking team, and they had become familiar in just 2 days. Come eat at my house. Tang Nian invited the boy to her home for a big meal. Yan Zhongjie hesitated, looking toward the house. If his dad found out, he would definitely be punished again. Let Bai Shui Fubao keep watch. Tang Nian thought that Commander Yan was being a bit too strict. It was just catching a few mice. What was the big deal? She had caught a 5-step snake when she was younger, and Grandpa Tang had praised her for it. Yan Zhongjie's eyes lit up as he quickly jumped over the wall, and Bai Shui Fubao lay on the wall to keep watch. There was still plenty of braised pork left for dinner, and there were many steamed buns too. Aunt Zhong made a dish of chives and eggs along with a vegetable and tofu soup. Yan Zhongjie was very hungry and grabbed a steamed bun to eat quickly. Eat slowly, don't choke. Aunt Zhong watched with concern. How could she let the child go hungry? Yan Zhongjie slowed down, taking a bite of meat, then a bite of bun, followed by a sip of soup. Tang Nian said from the side, make sure to finish all your vegetables. Okay. Yan Zhongjie nodded and continued eating. He finished 6 buns and all the vegetables. Burp. Yan Zhongjie let out a satisfied burp and exclaimed, Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Sister Tang.
Woof.
Bai Shui made a warning sound. Yan Zhongjie dashed out like the wind. Commander Yan came out to check if his son was behaving and saw him standing obediently, slightly hunched over. He couldn't help but feel soft-hearted. He had forgotten that his son hadn't eaten. The main reason was that the little rascal had been so annoying. He had accidentally mentioned the mouse meat to his wife after drinking, and how could the boy tell her? It made him sleep on the sofa tonight. Go find Uncle Zhao to eat. Commander Yan said sternly, and then went back to comfort his wife. Yan Zhongjie was a bit surprised. How could his dad be so easygoing today after just standing for an hour? He patted his belly, thinking how delicious the food at Sister Tang's house was. He accidentally ate too much and burped. Yan Zhongjie climbed over the wall, hugging Bai Shui and Fubao closely, saying, Goodbye, Shui. Good Fubao. Thank you. Then he ran to find Tang Nian, showering her with sweet words. Sister Tang, can I eat at your house from now on? I'll pay for my meals. Your cooking is better than the state banquet restaurant. Really, after eating your food, I can't eat anything else. What should I do? Aunt Zhong laughed so hard, she almost cried. He was such a lovable kid. You can't ask me. You need to ask Aunt Zhong. She cooks. Tang Nian pushed away the clingy Yan Zhongjie, who was more attached than a dog. Aunt Zhong, dear aunt. Yan Zhongjie grabbed Aunt Zhang's arm, being very clingy. Aunt Zhong couldn't resist such sweet talk and looked at Tang Nian, knowing she couldn't agree to this. If you don't mind the trouble, you can take him, Tang Nian said with a hint of annoyance. It's not a hassle, just one person's meals. Aunt Zhong happily agreed. She liked Yan Zhongjie. He was handsome and sweet-talking, very charming. Yan Zhongjie happily ran home, interrupting his father, Colonel Yan, who was trying to cheer up his wife. Give me $30 for meals. Here you go. Colonel Yan took $30 from the drawer and waved him off to not disturb him while he was comforting his wife. Yan Zhongjie took the $30, climbed back over the wall, and handed the money to Aunt Zhong. Aunt, this is for this month's meals. You don't need that much. Half is enough. Aunt Zhong was surprised and tried to give back half. I need it. I eat a lot. Yan Zhongjie insisted she keep it, and with Tang Nian's approval, Aunt Zhong accepted it. The next morning, Yan Zhongjie came over. When Shen Xiao saw him, he didn't ask anything and let him go to the kitchen to get his own bowl and chopsticks. For breakfast, they had vegetable rice cakes and 2 fried eggs each. What is this white stuff? Yan Zhongjie had never eaten rice cakes before. After taking a bite, He found it was a taste he had never experienced before, and it was delicious. There's still some rice cake in the pot. You can serve yourself, Aunt Zhang said. Okay. Yan Zhongjie was not polite at all. After finishing one plate of rice cake, he went for another, and he and Xin Xiao finished all the remaining rice cake in the pot. My dad did two things right in his life.
Burp.
Yan Zhongjie patted his belly in satisfaction, reflecting on his father's life. What are the two things? Aunt Zhang asked curiously. First, he married my mom with 8 mice. Without his mom, he wouldn't exist, so he had to give praise. Second, he moved to this city. Otherwise, how could I meet Sister Tang and Aunt Zhang and enjoy so much delicious food? Yan Zhongjie's words were as sweet as honey, making Aunt Zhang smile widely, and even Tang Nian's cold expression softened a bit. Wash the dishes. Xin Xiao suddenly spoke up, telling Yan Zhongjie to wash the dishes. With such smooth talk, he couldn't just sit idle. Yan Zhongjie shrank his neck, feeling a slight chill. His quick mind soon figured out the reason and quickly added, I know why my dad came to this city. It's because he has long admired your reputation, Brother Shen. You don't know, Brother Shen is famous in all the military districts. Even 3-year-olds know him. I've heard about his heroic deeds since I was little, and seeing him today, it's truly as expected. Shun Zhao's stern expression visibly softened. He cleared his throat and said coldly, You shouldn't believe everything you hear. It's all true. My dad rarely praises anyone, but when it comes to you, Brother Shen, he can't stop speaking highly of you. He even told me to learn from you when I was a kid. Yan Zhongjie sincerely flattered him, wanting to stay at the Shuns for a few more years, so he couldn't offend Xin Xiao. Although in reality, he was quite unconvinced by Xin Xiao, believing that beneath the fame, it was hard to live up to expectations. Once he joined the army, he would surely be better than Xin Xiao. Xin Xiao curled the corners of his mouth slightly, but quickly suppressed it. However, his gaze towards Yan Zhongjie became much kinder. He felt he had been too harsh on the kid earlier. It was fine if the dishes didn't get washed. I'll wash the dishes. Aunt Zhang interjected perfectly, carrying a stack of dishes to the kitchen. Aunt, let me help you wash. Yan Zhongjie followed along, and with his insistence, he helped wash a pair of chopsticks and wiped the stove. Tang Nian struggled to hold back her laughter. She had never noticed before that Xin Xiao was so easily swayed. No wonder the radio always warned about sweet traps. Their power is indeed strong. After all, he's just a child. It's not good to make him work. Xin Xiao explained, but his reasoning wasn't convincing enough. I know. Tang Nian didn't call him out because she also enjoyed sweet talk. They were quite similar in that regard, so there was nothing more to say. I'm going to school, and we'll be back on Sunday. Tang Nian grabbed the car keys. She had classes to attend. Tang sister, you still have school? Wow. Shen brother, you're really going for someone younger. Yan Zhongjie came out of the kitchen and blurted out after hearing Tang Nian's words. Shun Zhao's face visibly darkened, and his cold glare was sharper than a knife. Yan Zhongjie quickly ran away, climbing over the wall to escape, taking the lucky charm with him.
Ha ha ha.
Tang Nian burst into laughter. Yan Zhongjie was really funny. Shun Xiao reluctantly went to work. The new recruits were all complaining, not knowing who had angered the strict instructor, making their training even tougher. Time passed quickly, and soon it was June. The semester was almost over, and the new round of college entrance exams was approaching. Tang Jiangwo and Tang Jianshu were both preparing for the exams, along with Tang Jiangwo's wife, who was a teacher at the local elementary school. She had a solid foundation, so her chances of passing were high. Tang Lujin and Tang Dongchang planned to visit Zhao Chunmei's hometown during the summer vacation, as well as Aunt Zhang's home. Aunt Zhang's daughter made beautiful and practical shoe soles that foreigners would surely like. Tang Nian only reminded them to be safe and to have someone review the contract when signing. She didn't interfere with anything else. At the end of June, summer vacation began and Grandma Tang brought Jiao Jin over. The little girl had grown quite a bit. Once they arrived at the military area, she was in awe, especially seeing the soldiers on duty with their rifles. She was so envious. Grandma, I want to be a soldier in the future," Jiao Jin declared boldly. "Then you must study hard. Otherwise, the army won't accept you." Grandma Tang took the opportunity to encourage her granddaughter to study. The little girl was smart but didn't enjoy studying. If she could focus, she would surely do well. "Okay." Tang Jujin agreed. Old Lady Tang didn't take this seriously, thinking the little girl was just joking. But after Jujin went home, she changed completely. She listened to her lessons carefully every day, and the teacher praised her for making great progress. But that's another story. "Bai Shui, Fubao, look what I brought you." As soon as Jujin entered the house, she called out to her friends and took out the special gift she had brought, dried field mice. She caught the field mice on the mountain, skinned them, removed the insides, and dried them. Bai Shui and Fubao loved to eat them and would rush over whenever there was dried field mouse. However, today Bai Shui and Fubao were lazy. They glanced at Jujin but didn't move, continuing to lie in the shade. "Dried field mouse, your favorite." Jujin was not discouraged and tried to tempt them with the dried field mouse, but Bai Shui and Fubao remained indifferent because they knew that Yan Zhongjie would soon bring delicious roasted field mice. Roasted field mice sprinkled with cumin and honey were so tasty. "Grandma, is Bai Shui and Fubao sick?" Jujin was worried and ran to find Old Lady Tang. "How can a dog be sick? If they don't eat, it just means they're not hungry." Old Lady Tang thought she was being silly. Dogs were much healthier than people. Jujin didn't believe it. She thought Bai Shui and Fubao must be sick, but unfortunately, her second sister hadn't returned yet. Otherwise, they could go to the hospital. "Bai Shui, Fubao, I sprinkled chili powder on it today." Yan Zhongjie came running with several carefully roasted field mice, and Bai Shui and Fubao immediately went to him, wagging their tails, completely different from their earlier indifference. Jujin was furious. How dare he tempt her Bai Shui and Fubao?
Who are you?
Why are you trying to attract my Bai Shui and Fubao? Jujin rushed over, pushed Yan Zhongjie aside, stood in front of Bai Shui and Fubao with her hands on her hips. At 1.50 meters tall, she had an impressive presence. Yan Zhongjie was stunned for a few seconds, then realized he was facing a chubby little girl. He teased her, "Bai Shui and Fubao are yours? Then why do they listen to me?" After saying that, he waved the fragrant field mouse meat at Bai Shui Fubao. Bai Shui Fubao, feeling annoyed, pushed aside the troublesome Jujin and ran to Yan Zhongjie, wagging its tail, clearly trying to please him. "Don't worry, everyone gets 3 pieces." Yan Zhongjie patted their heads a few times and deliberately lifted his chin at Jujin with a smug look. Jujin's little face turned red with anger. She had never felt so embarrassed in her 9 years of life. She didn't blame Bai Shui Fubao. She only blamed that annoying guy for stealing her Bai Shui Fubao's attention. "I'll take you on." Jujin clenched her fists and charged at him like a little cannonball. She needed to defend her lost dignity. Bai Shui Fubao, quick and clever, snatched the meat from Yan Zhongjie's hand and went to the side to enjoy it, ignoring the 2 human kids' drama. "Hey, why are you so angry? I'm family with your sister."
Ouch.
"Are you serious? Good guys don't fight with girls. I'm just letting you have this ouch. You're really fierce. I'm going to fight back." Yan Zhongjie thought it was funny at first, but he didn't expect Jujin to be so strong. Before long, he had taken several punches and even got bitten, drawing blood. If he didn't fight back soon, this little girl would have him in a headlock. That would be so embarrassing. Although he fought back, Yan Zhongjie only used 1/3 of his strength, afraid of hurting Jujin. "Hey, Jujin, let go." Grandma Tang rushed out with a feather duster, but with the 2 of them tangled up, she couldn't get a swing in. "Yan Zhongjie, you can't even handle a little girl. When your dad comes back, he'll definitely scold you." Gao Qian leaned over the wall, enjoying the scene and stirring things up. "Gao, you should say less." Aunt Zhang shook her head, finding it hard to believe how Gao Qian interacted with her son, never cooking or doing chores, and not acting like a proper mom. "It's fine. Yan Zhongjie is tough. A few hits won't hurt him." Gao Qian didn't care and even jumped over the wall to watch the fight, cheering Jujin on. Grandma Tang was confused and quietly asked Aunt Zhang, "Is she a stepmother?" "She's her real mother," Aunt Zhang replied softly. Grandma Tang twitched her lips. This real mother seemed a bit unreliable. "When I grow taller, I will definitely beat you," Jiao Jin said, as Yan Zhongjie held her hands, making her unable to move. She was very unhappy. If she were as tall as this annoying guy, she would surely win. "All right, when you are as tall as me, I'll fight you," Yan Zhongjie said, trying not to laugh. However, he admired the girl. She was strong and quick, and even though she had a rough style, her fighting ability was impressive. Boys her age might not be able to beat her. "Then you better wait for me." Tang Jiojin puffed her cheeks, planning to eat an extra bowl of rice that night. She was determined to grow taller and stronger, then make this annoying guy cry for help. Yan Zhongjie let her go and said to Gao Qian, "Mom, instead of watching this show, you should prepare me some new clothes and shoes. I've grown taller again." After saying that, he stretched his arms and lifted his feet. Indeed, his sleeves were short, and his shoes were tight. "How did you grow again? Didn't you just get new ones in spring?" Gao Qian frowned and asked. "It's my fault for growing too fast." Yan Zhongjie joked. "I'll take you to the department store when I have time to buy some," Gao Qian said. Gao Qian didn't know how to make clothes. She always bought ready-made ones from the department store. She had no experience buying men's clothes since her husband received his from the army and didn't need her to buy more. Over the years, she had only bought clothes and shoes for her son, and often got the sizes wrong. "Mom, I'm 175 centimeters tall and wear size 41 shoes, so please don't buy the wrong size again," Yan Zhongjie said, still a bit worried. "Just give me the money, and I'll buy them myself." "All right," Gao Qian agreed. She had been busy choreographing for the National Day performance and hardly had time to rest. "Why don't you make your own clothes and shoes? Buying ready-made ones from the department store is 3 times more expensive. It's not worth it," Tang Jiojin said, frowning more with each word. This family was too wasteful, and she couldn't help but remind them. "My mom can't sew," Yan Zhongjie explained. "My mom can sew, and so can my aunt." Jiojin then showed off the floral dress she was wearing, which was newly made by Su Jinfeng. "Your mom and aunt are impressive, but my mom is also amazing. She's the best," Yan Zhongjie said with a smile. Gao Qian, who felt a bit embarrassed, felt better after hearing this. When she took out money, she accidentally grabbed an extra 5 yuan and handed it all to her son. Yan Zhongjie noticed the extra 5 yuan but quietly put it in his pocket without saying anything. His mom had a habit of being easily swayed. When she heard sweet words, her already not-so-sharp mind would become even more confused, to the point where she couldn't even count properly. "I'm off to work." Gao Qian hurriedly left. Recently, Commander Yen and Xin Shao were not at home. They had both been sent to the Southwest Military Region. The situation at the southwest border was tense, and many troops and leaders from various military districts had been sent there for training. The famous battle would begin next February. In fact, the border had not been peaceful for years. The neighboring country was constantly provoking our sovereignty, and the country's leaders, who had fought hard for their territory, would not tolerate such provocations. They would surely teach them a harsh lesson. Both Xin Shao and Commander Yen volunteered to go to the southwest. A soldier who had never been on the battlefield or experienced the sound of cannon fire was definitely not a qualified soldier. "Hey, are you going to the department store to buy clothes?" Tang Jiojin gently nudged Yan Zhongjie and asked quietly. "Yes, are you going too?" Yan Zhongjie thought she wanted to have fun at the department store. "There's nothing fun at the department store. Let me tell you, if you buy fabric and have someone make the clothes, you can save a lot of money." Tang Jiojin perfectly inherited her grandmother's knack for budgeting. She calculated the expenses for Yan Zhongjie, and the more he thought about it, the more he regretted how much money he had lost over the years. "Who can make the clothes for me?" Yan Zhongjie asked humbly. "There are many people in the family area who can sew. I can help you find someone, and once it's done, you just need to give me 2 yuan for my trouble." Tang Jiojin revealed her true intention. She just wanted to earn a little fee for running errands, and 2 yuan was a fair price. Yan Zhongjie's moment of emotion disappeared completely. He thought he could become close like siblings with this girl, but instead, she only talked about money. What a waste of his feelings. You don't need to find someone. Aunt Zhang can do it. Old Lady Tang glared and turned back to scold the girl. How did she become so focused on money? Zhongjie, you go buy the fabric, and I'll make it for you. Aunt Zhang said with a smile. It's easy to make a couple of outfits with a sewing machine at home. Okay, I'll go buy it now. Yan Zhongjie smiled obediently and asked Tang Jiujin, do you want to go to the zoo? Are there tigers and lions? Tang Jiujin became interested. Yes, and giant pandas too. I want to go. Tang Jiujin shouted happily, looking at Old Lady Tang. Go ahead, take this money and the water bottle. Old Lady Tang agreed, giving her granddaughter $1 and a bottle of cold tea for the trip. Yan Zhongjie rode his bicycle home, with Jiujin sitting on the back, and they quickly rode off. Jiujin and Zhongjie really got along quickly, and Zhang said with a smile. This girl is more mischievous than the boy. Just now, she saw a soldier on duty and said she wants to be a soldier in the future. Old Lady Tang spoke with a mix of helplessness and pride. Her granddaughter is strong-willed and won't be bullied. She's more worried about her bullying others. Being a soldier is great. Our Jiujin could be a female general in the future. Aunt Zhang flattered. Thank you for your kind words. As long as she doesn't cause trouble, I'll be grateful. Old Lady Tang smiled widely, but she didn't really expect Jiujin to become a general. She just hoped she would be safe and could hold a decent job. Tang Nian was still at school taking her final exams. After finishing her last subject, she returned to her dorm to pack her things, preparing to go back to the military district. Hongmei, are you going home for the break? Everyone was in the dorm. Tong Xiaofang was braiding her hair in front of the mirror while chatting with Yuan Hongmei. Not yet. My partner is done with the college entrance exam and is bringing the kids here to play. I'm waiting for them, Yuan Hongmei replied with a smile. Next month is the second college entrance exam. She asked her husband to apply to universities in the city, as she hopes both of them can stay there and eventually bring their 2 children over. In the past, the exam was held on July 7th, 8th, and 9th, commonly known as Black July. Although the Northeast is doing well now, Yuan Hongmei feels that the economic focus will shift to the South in the future. That's why she wants to apply to universities in the South, to lay a foundation early. Xiaofeng, do you have a date? Is it with that guy from the foreign language department? Yuan Hongmei teased. Tong Xiaofeng is pretty and has a good personality, making her popular among the boys at school. Recently, she's been getting close to a boy from the foreign language department, and it seems like they have a special relationship. I haven't agreed yet. He asked me to go see a movie, but I want to avoid the peak times these days, so I plan to buy a ticket for next month instead. Since I have nothing else to do, I agreed, she explained shyly, her cheeks turning red. Watching a movie is fine, but don't stay out too late. And don't let his sweet talk distract you. Some things should only happen after you're married, Yuan Hongmei advised seriously. She wasn't worried about the other 2 unmarried girls, Sun Dongxiu and Lu Donxia, as they are quite independent. But she was concerned about Tong Xiaofeng, who is too innocent and pretty. She feared the girl might be swayed by a boy's charm. Tong Xiaofeng blushed deeply and replied, I haven't agreed to anything yet. I'll definitely come back after the movie. I won't do anything reckless. My mom warned me before college that if I misbehave, she would be very upset. Listening to your mom is definitely the right choice. Yuan Hongmei felt relieved, grateful that Tong Xiaofeng has a good mother. She then asked Sun Dongxiu and the others if they were going home. I'm not going back. I want to find some work here, so I can study in the evenings, Sun Dongxiu replied. I'm not going back either. I'll look for work with Dongxiu, Lu Donxia said, sounding a bit more friendly than at the start of the semester, though she still wasn't very talkative. Me too, said Wu Wanhua, looking healthier than at the beginning of the semester. She also wanted to stay and find work to earn money. Have you found any work yet? Tang Nian asked. Not yet, but Jia Dong said he could help ask around since his mom is a community worker, Sun Dongxiu said, looking a bit worried. She knew nothing about the city, and job hunting felt like trying to feel an elephant blindfolded. Jia Dong, a local classmate, was quite helpful, but he couldn't guarantee a job. It's probably tough on the streets. Many locals are unemployed, and even simple jobs like making paper boxes and twisting ropes are hard to get, Tang Nian said honestly. She heard this from Aunt Zhang. Aunt Zhang had met many locals when she lived in a villa, and after moving to the military district, she often went into the city to chat with them and learned a lot about city life. In the past 2 years, the number of unemployed youth in the city had increased significantly due to the return of educated youth, putting more pressure on the streets. Jobs that were once looked down upon, like making paper boxes and twisting ropes, had become sought after, and one needed connections to get them. Sun Dongxiu and the others looked a bit down but didn't lose hope.
There's always a way out.
We have 2 months of summer vacation. We will definitely find work, Wu Wanhua said, though she seemed a bit uncertain. She actually had another way to make money, but it involved risks, and she didn't have a supply channel. After thinking for a moment, she said, I saw many people selling small items on the street, like cassette tapes, electronic watches, and postcards. They seem to be doing well. Making a few dollars a day should be possible. But that's risky business. If caught, there could be serious consequences. Sun Dongxiu's face turned pale with fear. She worried that Wu Wanhua might take a wrong turn and advised, Sister Wanhua, we worked hard to get into college. We must not be foolish for a little profit. If caught, we could be expelled. Wu Wanhua smiled and said, I won't do it. I have no capital or connections. I'm just saying. I won't either, Lu Donxia added. Let's focus on finding a proper job. Earning a little less is okay. Peace of mind is the most important.
Sun Dongxiu said.
The loudspeaker in the dormitory crackled, and the dormitory aunt's voice boomed. Student Tong Xiaofang from room 309. Someone is looking for you. Tong Xiaofang blushed, grabbed her bag, and ran to the door. I'm going out, bye. She waved her hand and ran off like a butterfly. That guy is downstairs. Wow, he looks good, but he's a bit short. If Xiaofang wears high heels, she might be taller than him. Yuan Hongmei looked down from the windowsill, jokingly expressing her disapproval. She thought Tong Xiaofang should find a better man. As long as Xiaofang is happy, that's what matters. I heard this man is local and comes from a good family. Xiaofang's mom hopes she finds someone from Shanghai or Zhejiang, Sun Dongxiu said. Tang Nian also went to the windowsill to watch. The man stood next to Tong Xiaofang. He wasn't very tall, but they seemed to have a good relationship, laughing and talking. Tong Xiaofang was giggling and covering her mouth. If you want to find work, I can introduce you to a job. If you do well, you can earn $20 to $30 a month, but it's not local, Tang Nian offered. Tang Nian was referring to a job packing socks. The sock factory in Tang Village was thriving. The factory moved to the county town, turning Tang Village into a branch. Packing socks didn't require much skill. Anyone with hands could do it. Many elderly women in Tang Village would take socks home to pack while chatting, easily earning $7 or $8 a month. For the rural elderly women, earning $7 or $8 a month made them very content. Where will we work? Sun Dongxiu asked. In Zhu City, Zhejiang, my hometown. I'm the assistant manager, and I can arrange summer sock packing jobs for you. You can stay in the factory dormitory for free, and for meals, you can buy meal tickets in the cafeteria. You don't have to worry about safety. My uncle and cousin work at the factory and will help you if needed. Tang Nian explained quickly, waiting for their response. I want to go. Thank you, Nian. Sun Dongxiu said gratefully. I want to go too, Wu Wanhua and Lu Donxia agreed. With familiar faces around, and Zhu City not far from Shanghai, they were definitely interested. Even if they earned $20 a month, that would add up to $40 in 2 months, which was a good amount. Tang Nian wrote down the sock factory's address and phone number, handing it to Wu Wanhua. Tang Jianshu is my cousin. Just call him when you get to Zhu City, and he will help you.
Okay, thank you,
the three said sincerely. No need to thank me. If you don't work hard, you won't earn much. Once you're in the factory, you have to follow the rules. My connections won't help, Tang Nian said honestly. Of course, We have to follow the rules. We won't embarrass you, Wu Wanhua said with a smile. She wasn't afraid of hard work. She had endured the tough times in Beidawang, so working in the factory would surely be easier. Tang Yanyan was at the school phone booth, calling Tang Jianshu to tell him she would introduce 3 female classmates to work at the factory packaging socks and asked him to look after them. No problem, just have them come directly. Tang Jianshu readily agreed, as he would definitely take care of his cousin's classmates. How is your studying going? Do you feel prepared for the exam next month? Tang Yanyan asked. I feel a bit confident, but not too much. I can't say for sure, Tang Jianshu replied, lacking confidence. Just do your best. If you really can't pass, you can always go to night school and still learn something, Tang Yanyan reassured him. Yeah, I'll try my best to pass. Tang Jianshu felt a lot of pressure lift off his shoulders. At least he had the option of night school, but he still wanted to go to college since a diploma from there would be much more valuable. After hanging up, Tang Yanyan returned to the dorm and said, I talked to my cousin. You can take the train to Zhucheng, and after you get off, call him. He will come to pick you up. Thank you so much. You've been really helpful. Wu Wanhua and the others felt a bit embarrassed. It's nothing, I'm heading home now. Tang Yanyan spoke in a calm tone, seeming hard to approach, but after a semester together, everyone knew her temperament and didn't find her difficult. Yanyan, can you give me a ride? I need to go to the department store. Yuan Hongmei said with a smile. Tang Yanyan nodded and left with her bag. Lu Donxia thought for a moment and followed them out. She had run out of tissue and needed to buy some. I can just buy it at the school store, no need to go out, Lu Donxia explained, not wanting to hitch a ride. The 3 of them walked out of the dormitory building toward the main road where Tang Yanyan's vehicle was parked, and the store was also in that direction, so they continued together. Lu Donxia. A man's voice called out, and Lu Donxia shivered slightly upon hearing it. Her expression changed as she slowly turned around and saw the man, her fists clenching tightly. Your parents didn't lie to me. They really let you get into Fudan. A man limped over, smiling, but his smile was quite uncomfortable. He looked rather unkempt, dressed in a way that seemed out of place compared to Lu Donxia, yet he spoke to her as if they were very familiar. I'll take you out to eat. Let's talk outside. Lu Donxia's voice was cold as she told Tang Yanyan and Yuan Hongmei, my hometown friend is here. I'm taking him out to eat. What friend? Lu Donxia, you are my woman. You can't deny it after we've been together. The man's voice trailed off under Lu Donxia's icy gaze, showing that he was somewhat intimidated by her. Lu Donxia walked quickly, and the man struggled to keep up, looking quite awkward as they moved away from the others. He spoke in a fast dialect from the northwest, which Yuan Hongmei couldn't understand, but Tang Yanyan caught some of it. This man seems strange. I have a bad feeling about him. Yuan Hongmei said, worried. It's fine. Lu Donxia can handle it. Tang Yanyan didn't share what the man had said, as she wasn't sure of the details. She noticed that the man was wary of Lu Donxia, so there shouldn't be any immediate problems. After dropping Yuan Hongmei off at the department store, she returned to the military district. Jiu Jin saw her and rushed over, excitedly presenting her with a carefully prepared gift, a basket of wild fruits she had picked before coming down from the mountain. Tang Yanyan playfully pinched the little girl's chubby cheek and quickly slipped her a bill when Grandma Tang wasn't looking. Jiu Jin quickly tucked the bill into her pocket. The 2 sisters exchanged a knowing smile. Wow, what delicious treat is this? Yan Zhongjie walked in and saw the bright red fruits, drooling at the sight. Wild fruits. Tang Yanyan grabbed a handful and stuffed them into his mouth. Yan Zhongjie's eyes widened in delight, as if he were a dog from Tang Village enjoying a can of food, feeling an unmatched satisfaction. Delicious. So good. Why didn't my dad come to the south sooner? He mumbled as he ate, lamenting all the tasty food he had missed. This is nothing. There are even more delicious foods during summer vacation, like black rice, wild hawthorn, and so on. They are all tasty, and I can't eat enough of them. Tang Jiujin looked down on his lack of experience and listed a long list of delicious foods, making Yan Zhongjie tear up for the 100th time while complaining about his dad. Jiujin, Can I spend the summer vacation at your house? I'll cover my living expenses. Yen Zhongjie squatted down to discuss with the little girl. At first, Jujin didn't want to agree, but when she heard about the living expenses, her eyes lit up and she quietly asked, "How much will you give me for living expenses? Is 30 enough?" "That's enough." Jujin quickly calculated. If she gave her mom 20 for living expenses, her mom would be very happy, and the remaining 10 would be her introduction fee. "I'll go back in a few days. I just got here." Jujin didn't want to leave her sister and wanted to stay a few more days. Yen Zhongjie had no problem with that and even said he would take Jujin to the big yard to play and introduce her to his friends. The two of them were whispering, and Tang Nian heard everything but didn't want to interfere. After staying home for 3 days, Tang Nian needed to go to school to get her report card. As soon as she arrived at the dormitory, Yuan Hongmei pulled her outside to talk quietly, looking worried. "Lu Donxia seems to be doing something foolish. She didn't go to your hometown to work and has been going out with that man every day, even buying him drinks." Tang Nian frowned and asked, "Lu Donxia didn't go to Zhucheng for work?" Yuan Hongmei shook her head, looking concerned. "She said she needed to entertain relatives. That man she met is the one she's with. After the relatives leave, she plans to go to Zhucheng to find Wanhua and Dongxiu.
I just feel something is off about that man."
She couldn't understand what Lu Donxia and that man were saying, but the atmosphere between them didn't seem like relatives. It just felt strange. "Where is Lu Donxia?" Tang Nian didn't see her in the dormitory. "She's been out all day and only comes back at night. She even borrowed 10 yuan for me to treat that man to dinner every day." Yuan Hongmei grew more worried and said urgently, "Donxia wouldn't really do something foolish, would she?" "She definitely won't. Lu Donxia knows what she's doing." Tang Nian comforted her, but she knew that Yuan Hongmei's worries were not unfounded. The man's relationship with Lu Donxia was likely complicated. It seemed that the man had something on Lu Donxia, something serious enough to make her leave school, which is why she was trying to please him even by borrowing money. Such people often have endless demands, and no amount of money from Lu Donxia would be enough, especially since she had little to begin with. She and Wu Wanhua were the most frugal in their dormitory, barely managing with the basic vegetables provided by the school's living allowance. When a person's desires cannot be satisfied, there are usually 2 outcomes. One is that they are destroyed by the other. The other is that they destroy the other. Tang Nian suspected Lu Donxia would choose the latter. Yuan Hongmei sighed, "I hope everything is fine. It's not easy to get into college. Let's not have any more trouble." Lu Donxia was very secretive about her past and never talked about her time as a youth worker. Like Wu Wanhua, she had also been sent to the countryside, but they went to different places. Wu Wanhua went to Beidawang, while Lu Donxia went to the northwest. Although Lu Donxia never spoke about it, everyone could tell that her experience was not pleasant. In fact, few female youth workers had a good time. The conditions were tough, and they faced more dangers than their male counterparts. Wu Wanhua rushed to marry because she wanted a safeguard. Otherwise, as a single, attractive female youth worker, it would be hard to endure 8 years. "Yuan Hongmei, someone is looking for you," the loudspeaker announced, and Yuan Hongmei looked at her watch, frustrated. "Oh no, I forgot. My hometown friend's birthday lunch." She quickly grabbed the birthday gift she had prepared and rushed downstairs. The loudspeaker sounded again, this time calling for Tong Xiaofeng. While fixing her hair in front of a mirror, Tong Xiaofeng ran to the window and called down, "Wait for me for 5 minutes." The man below said something, and Tong Xiaofeng smiled sweetly, clearly in the blissful phase of a relationship. Now, only Tang Nian and Tong Xiaofeng were in the dormitory. Tang Nian had already taken her report card. She unpacked her mosquito net, bed curtains, and pillowcases, casually stuffing them into her bag. She noticed Tong Xiaofeng undoing her carefully braided hair to redo it. For minutes have passed. Tang Nian kindly reminded, noting there was only 1 minute left, and there was no time to braid hair. She didn't understand why it had to be so elaborate when she saw that man every day. The problem was that she couldn't wear makeup, and with only a few hairstyle and outfit options, Even if she spent 24 hours on it, she couldn't create something special. It really wasn't necessary to waste so much time. It's okay, Gao Yuhui is very patient. Tong Xiaofang's face was flushed, her smile charming and radiant, even more beautiful than at the start of the school year. Have you two confirmed your relationship? Tang Nian casually asked. Yes, Yuhui said he would take me home to meet his parents during the new year. Tong Xiaofang said softly, her eyes filled with happy shyness. Why not meet them now? Tang Nian didn't understand. Since they had confirmed their relationship, why wait until the new year? His parents work out of town and won't be back until then, Tong Xiaofang explained for her partner. Congratulations. Tang Nian sincerely congratulated her. Although Tong Xiaofang had some intentions in choosing Gao Yuhui, it was normal. Tong Xiaofang was beautiful, pure-hearted, and a student at a prestigious university. Gao Yuhui likely considered this too. In matters of marriage, men often think more strategically than women. Thank you. Tong Xiaofang blushed, happily finishing 2 braids and adding some decorative flowers. She looked in the mirror again, still unsure, and asked, Nian, do I look good like this? You look great. Tang Nian glanced up to answer. Look more carefully. I can see clearly. You look very beautiful. Tang Nian felt a bit helpless. She couldn't understand this fuss, and wondered if she was too casual or if Tong Xiaofang was too concerned. It's just a man. Is it really that important? Tong Xiaofang shot her a playful glare, checked herself in the mirror a few more times, then happily grabbed her bag and hummed a tune as she left. Tang Nian shrugged, picked up her bag, and went downstairs, locking the dorm room door behind her. She planned to look for Lu Donxia nearby. If she found her in an hour, she would get involved, but if not, it was meant to be, and she would go home to sleep. Tang Nian walked quickly and soon saw the 2 people ahead, who were close together but not holding hands in broad daylight. They were talking quietly, and Gao Yuhui was quite charming, making Tong Xiaofang laugh. Xiaofang, your hometown must be beautiful, right? Gao Yuhui asked with a smile. Actually, it's not really my hometown. My mom is from Zhejiang, and my dad is from Hebei. My grandparents live in our hometown, but I grew up there. In my heart, the border area is my hometown. It has its beauty in every season, but I love spring the most. The mountains are filled with blooming apricot flowers. I can't describe that beauty. You have to see it for yourself. Tong Xiaofang spoke enthusiastically about her hometown. She often talked about it in the dormitory, and everyone became very interested in the border area through her descriptions. Tang Nian had walked up behind them and was just about to pass by when she stopped and glanced at Gao Yuhui. At the same time, Ni Junlan, who was walking from the opposite side, also looked over at Gao Yuhui. Tong Xiaofang. Ni Junlan called out. Tong Xiaofang was startled and quickly stepped aside, distancing herself from Gao Yuhui, standing up straight and cautiously saying, Teacher Ni. Is he your boyfriend? Ni Junlan asked Gao Yuhui. Yes. Tong Xiaofang nodded shyly. The school didn't mind students dating, especially since many new students were older. Hello, Teacher Ni. I'm Gao Yuhui from the Foreign Language Department. Gao Yuhui introduced himself confidently. Ni Junlan raised her chin and looked him up and down, asking, which class is from Teacher Du? That's right. Gao Yuhui nodded. What are you all going out for? What time will you be back? Have you ever stayed out overnight? Ni Junlan questioned like a strict parent. We're going to watch a movie, then take pictures at the Bund, and I'll return to the dormitory afterward. Tong Xiaofang blushed deeply, but answered truthfully. I will inform the dorm supervisor. If you don't return by 8 tonight, they will notify me. Ni Junlan still has her old temper, and her tone can be quite unpleasant. However, as a counselor now, it's responsible of her to speak this way. Tong Xiaofang and Gao Yuhui promised they wouldn't stay out late, behaving even better than elementary school students. From your accent, you must be from Old Huqing? Ni Junlan suddenly asked Gao Yuhui in Huqing dialect. Yes, my great-grandfather came to Huqing and lived there all his life, Gao Yuhui replied fluently in Huqing dialect. Ni Junlan, like a mother asking about her daughter's future husband, asked many casual questions, even about the alley where Gao Yuhui lived as a child. That's a coincidence. I have a relative who used to live in that alley. When I was a child, I loved the fried snacks made by Grandma Huang there. I would buy one every time I visited. I haven't tasted that flavor in a long time. Also, Master Mao from the breakfast shop made delicious dumplings that everyone in the alley loved. As Ni Junlon spoke, she swallowed, looking like she was truly reminiscing about childhood treats. I also remember those delicious foods from my childhood. I loved Grandma Huang's fried snacks even more. The mix of shredded radish, flour, and eggs fried in oil has a wonderful texture and is very tasty, Gao Yuhui said, looking nostalgic and swallowing hard when he mentioned the fried snacks. The fried snacks made by the alley's grandma are the best. Just one bite, and it's so delicious. Tong Xiaofang understood some Huqing dialect, but Gao Yuhui and Ni Junlon spoke a bit too fast for her. She only caught part of the conversation, but she understood they were talking about tasty food, and she couldn't help but swallow. Yuhui, were those fried snacks? Are they really that good? Tong Xiaofang asked, feeling tempted. They're really delicious. I'll take you to try them later. They're a childhood favorite for kids from Huqing, Gao Yuhui said with a smile.
Great.
I also want to eat those dumplings and crab roe buns. I want to eat everything, Tong Xiaofang said playfully. With her heavy study load, she rarely went out, so she wanted to enjoy this time. Gao Yuhui looked at her with affection, and their interaction was sweet, but they didn't dare leave without Ni Junlin's permission. Go ahead, but Tong Xiaofang, you must return to the dormitory by 8 o'clock. Ni Junlon said sternly. Yes, we will. Goodbye, teacher and I. Tong Xiaofang obediently promised, waved her hand, smiled at Tang Niannian, and pulled Gao Yuhui away. Ni Hunlan suddenly frowned. She caught a glimpse of Tang Niannian and said irritably, What are you still doing here? The road isn't yours, so it's none of your business if I stand here. Tang Niannian ziplit zudeli. I'm your teacher, and you're being disrespectful. Ni Junlon was so angry she gritted her teeth. Tang Niannian hadn't called her teacher even once. It was very impolite. Just because you're a teacher, does that mean you can take over a public road? Tang Niannian rolled her eyes, thinking that even though she became a counselor, she hadn't improved much. Actually, she had improved a little. At least she noticed the problem in time. Her alertness was quite good. I won't argue with you because I'm a teacher and should be tolerant. Ni Hunlan norte. She had important matters to attend to and didn't have time to argue. After walking a few steps, she noticed Tang Niannian was still following her and impatiently said, Why are you following me like a shadow? You want to check on Gao Yuhui, right? Tang Niannian stated confidently. Ni Junlon stumbled in shock, almost falling over, and asked through gritted teeth, How did you know? She wanted to scream in frustration. She thought she could take credit for something, but now Tang Niannian knew, and she would have to share the credit. What a loss. You asked so obviously. I'm not stupid. Tang Niannian teased her. Ni Junlin's thoughts were practically written on her face. She wanted to take credit, but didn't want to share it. Ni Junlon would definitely be disappointed. She had to share the credit. Are you trying to take my credit? Ni Junlon took it seriously, thinking it was her reminder that made Tang Niannian aware, and she felt a pang of regret. Since you're a teacher, can't you communicate better? We discovered it at the same time, so we should both get credit. Tang Niannian rolled her eyes, pushed her lightly, and teased, If you don't go check soon, it'll be too late. Ni Junlon gritted her teeth, glared at her angrily, and stormed off to find the school security. She originally wanted to check Gao Yuhui's file with Teacher Du, but now it's unnecessary. Although Tang Niannian is annoying, her alertness is top-notch. If she suspects something, it shows that Gao Yuhui definitely has issues. Tang Niannian silently followed with her luggage. How did you find out? Ni Junlon asked, feeling unconvinced. Home. Tang Niannian only said 2 words, and Ni Junlon fell silent. She realized something was off after hearing those 2 words. A native Chinese person wouldn't use gusheng, hometown, in casual conversation. They would typically say zhesheng, home. Using gusheng sounds awkward. Foreigners might not notice, but a Chinese person would catch it right away. Except for Tong Xiaofeng, who is a bit clueless. Ni Junlon, feeling a bit defensive, shared her other observations. Gao Yuhui mentioned a grandma named Huang who made fried snacks in the alley, but she didn't use radish filling, it was lotus root filling. And Master Mao from the breakfast shop made really bad dumplings that no one in the alley wanted to eat. If Gao Yuhui really lived in that alley, he would definitely know these details. Very clever. Tang Nian sincerely complimented her, though not very enthusiastically. Ni Junlon huffed, proudly saying, "I'll share this half with you this time, but I won't share again in the future." "Thank you."
Tan Nian ziplit dits mi sin.
She realized that Ni Junlon was straightforward, with both clear flaws and strengths. She couldn't truly dislike or like someone like that, but if she needed to ask someone for an important favor, she would choose Ni Junlon over Tong Xiaofeng. The school had police on duty every day. When Ni Junlon and Tang Nian reached the office, they immediately put the police on high alert. "I need to check the file of Gao Yuhui from the foreign language department," she said. Upon hearing there was a spy at the school, the police were startled awake. "He is currently pursuing a female classmate in my class named Tong Xiaofeng, and she has no idea. Please don't scare her." Ni Junlon added, "Tong Xiaofeng is her student, and as a counselor, she must protect every student in her class. That's a basic principle of being a teacher. Don't worry, teacher and I. If Tong Xiaofeng really doesn't know anything, there won't be any problems." The police didn't sound too certain. If Tong Xiaofeng accidentally leaked information to Gao Yuhui, it could harm the country, and she would definitely face consequences. Ni Junlon frowned, secretly scolding Tong Xiaofeng for being foolish. It was hard enough for her to get into college, and now she was getting involved in a pointless romance. What a silly girl. "I think I know why Gao Yuhui is pursuing Tong Xiaofeng," Tang Nian interjected. "What purpose?" Both the police and Ni Junlon asked in unison. Tang Nian mentioned a code name that the police didn't understand. Ni Junlon's expression changed as she muttered, "Impossible. Tong Xiaofeng hasn't performed well among this year's freshmen. They wouldn't choose her for the project team." Old Zhang said that to train this year's college students, every student will have an internship in the project team. They will only have access to the outer layer, but Gao Yuhui and his group will likely find a way to get Tong Xiaofeng into the core. At that point, core data could be stolen by spies. After noticing Gao Yuhui's odd behavior, Tang Nian guessed his intentions. Although Tong Xiaofeng wasn't outstanding, she wasn't bad either. Gao Yuhui definitely wasn't working alone. His accomplices were probably infiltrated in various departments, and there might even be high-ranking officials involved. It wouldn't be hard to arrange for a few people to join the project team. Getting into the core isn't that easy. "Do you think it's a market?" Ni Junlon countered. "Weren't you in there before?" Tang Nian shot back. "I'm much stronger than Tong Xiaofeng. Actually, you're not better than her. At least she got in through the proper channels." "Tang Nian, I'm your teacher. Don't you understand respect for your teacher?" Ni Junlon was so angry she was jumping up and down. Not taking the college entrance exam was a sore spot for her, but she didn't have the courage to take it again. She feared failing and being laughed at. Just because you're loud doesn't mean you're right. Tang Nian didn't want to argue and temporarily conceded. She then said to the police, "I will report this case to the military district. Please don't alert them. Gao Yuhui definitely has a whole network behind him." Gao Yuhui speaks fluent Shanghai dialect and knows the city very well, which means he must have lived there since childhood. His parents and relatives are real, and such a careful arrangement suggests a large organization behind it. Tang Nian is worried that the police might not have enough manpower. The military district has more experience and resources in capturing spies. When the police learned that her husband is Deputy Division Chief Shin from the military district, they immediately showed respect and had no objections. Tang Nian used the police phone to call Ming Jinxing and briefly explain the situation. "I will send someone to investigate. You don't need to worry," shouting. "After we catch them, I'll make sure to commend you," he said. Ming Jinxing had no doubts. He trusted Tang Nian's abilities and knew she wouldn't report false information. However, He couldn't help but feel that such a wonderful girl was lucky to be with that rascal Shinshao. Also, there's Ni Junlon. We discovered this together, Tang Nianyan reminded him. Ming Jinxing acknowledged this. After reporting, Tang Nianyan decided not to get involved further, picked up her bag, and left. Is that it? Don't we need to help them with the work? Ni Junlon felt it was too simple. Where was the grand operation she had imagined? Someone will come to talk to you later. Keep quiet and don't tell anyone about this. Or else. Tang Nianyan gestured at her neck, indicating the seriousness of the situation. Do you think I'm not cautious? I've known about confidentiality since I was 3. My dad works in that field and never talks about his job at home. To this day, my mom and I still don't know exactly what he does, Ni Junlon replied, rolling her eyes. Tang Nianyan didn't say much more. Although Ni Junlon could be spoiled, she wouldn't compromise on principles, so she felt reassured. She placed her bag in the trunk, started the car, and left the school. Instead of rushing back to the military district, she drove around the area to see if she could find Lu Donxia. Tang Nianyan wasn't overly eager, so she only searched for an hour. She wasn't aimlessly looking. Yuan Hongmei had mentioned that Lu Donxia often went out to eat and drink with men, and since it was almost lunchtime, she should be at a restaurant. After just half an hour of searching, Tang Nianyan spotted Lu Donxia with a man. The man changed into a new shirt, looking much more spirited than when he arrived, with a particularly proud expression. He walked ahead of Lu Donxia and pushed open the door of a restaurant. Lu Donxia paused outside for a moment, her gaze cold, as if she had made up her mind. Aren't you coming to pay? The man shouted from inside. Lu Donxia entered, paid the bill, and found she had very little money left. Her expression grew colder as she glanced at the man who was already drinking. No matter where you run, I will find you. You are mine in life and in death. If you don't behave, I will report you to the police for murder. The man, having had a few drinks, appeared dazed and began to speak nonsense. He might not be drunk. He could just be warning Lu Donxia. Don't just drink. Eat something. Lu Donxia served him some food and even poured him more drink. The man was particularly pleased and reached out to touch her face, but Lu Donxia turned away, her eyes filled with disgust. How dare you complain? You didn't mind when we were together. Even if you get into college, you are still mine and must have my children. Otherwise, I will report you to the police and get you in serious trouble. The man spoke in a local dialect, quickly and urgently. The restaurant staff couldn't understand and thought the couple was just arguing, so no one intervened. If you keep shouting outside, the police will take me away, and you'll be left with nothing. Lu Donxia replied in the same dialect, and the man immediately fell silent. In the past few days, he had experienced a life he never dared to dream of, unaware that the world outside could be so exciting. He should have come out sooner. From now on, he planned to rely on Lu Donxia for a good life. Tang Nianyan, wearing a hat and a mask, entered the restaurant and ordered a bowl of wontons, overhearing their conversation. Lu Donxia had committed a crime, and the man was using this to threaten her. However, she felt there must be more to the story. Lu Donxia didn't seem like the type to kill without reason. After finishing a bottle of wine and 2 dishes, the man had eaten everything while Lu Donxia hadn't touched her food. Let's go to the park and then watch a movie. I'm also a city person. The man was drunk, swaying as he walked. Lu Donxia offered to support him gently, saying, "Let's go to the park." Strolling. The man was not fully aware of his surroundings as he followed Lu Donxia. There was a park nearby, but it was noon, and the sun was blazing, leaving the park almost empty. Lu Donxia bought 2 tickets and helped the man inside. Tang Nianyan also bought a ticket, which cost 1 cent. She followed at a distance, watching as Lu Donxia assisted the man toward the lake in the park, realizing what Lu Donxia intended to do. Tang Nianyan hid behind a tree. Lu Donxia and the man had reached the lake's edge, and with a little push, the man could fall in. The likely outcome for a drunken man in the water was grim. "You're my woman. It's only natural for me to be with you. Don't you dare hide. I'll report you to the police for what you did to my brother." The man suddenly became aggressive, trying to embrace Lu Donxia in broad daylight, but she managed to evade him, prompting him to shout angrily. At noon, the sun was scorching, and there wasn't even a dog in the park. Lu Donxia coldly watched the man spewing insults, her fists tightening, her nails digging into her skin, the metallic taste of blood growing stronger in her mouth. Memories of that night flooded her mind, along with the man's ugly face and his triumphant laughter echoing in her ears. She hadn't thought about those moments in a long time. She believed she could forget the past and start anew. So she studied late into the night, sleeping only 2 or 3 hours a day, pushing herself to the point of nosebleeds and hair loss, never considering giving up. She succeeded and got into the best university. This semester at school was the happiest time of her life, so blissful that she almost forgot the dark, bloody years behind her. The arrival of Wei Shizhu shattered her illusion of happiness. She was wrong. Her ancestors were right. One must eliminate the root of the problem. She shouldn't have spared Wei Shizhu's life back then. Wei Shizhu, you killed your brother. Lu Donxia said coldly, her words striking like a block of ice, momentarily awakening Wei Shizhu. He struggled to keep his eyes open, and in front of him, Lu Donxia seemed to multiply into several figures, spinning around. He blinked, and Lu Donxia turned into her brother, covered in blood, pointing at him with bloodied fingers, shouting, "Shizhu, how could you be so cruel? It wasn't me, it was you. You killed my brother. It was you. You used an axe to chop off his head, and you even threw him into the mountains to feed the wolves." Lu Donxia said, emphasizing each word. "No, it was him who tried to attack me first. I was just defending myself. It's all your fault. You deliberately got my brother drunk and stirred up trouble. You're the real killer." The man's mind began to clear as he recalled many past events. He and his brother had always been close, but ever since he married that woman, their bond had weakened. Especially his brother, who had developed a drinking habit, consuming a bottle every day. When drunk, he would insult him and sometimes even hit him. At first, he tolerated it because he was his brother. But later, his brother's temper grew worse, and his violence became more reckless. Once, during a heated argument, his brother grabbed a machete and swung it at him. If he hadn't dodged quickly, he would have been seriously injured. Since then, he had developed a grudge against his brother, and their relationship deteriorated. They fought almost every day, and during one intense clash, both had knives drawn. If the villagers hadn't intervened, it would have ended in bloodshed. That night, he couldn't even remember why they had fought again. It seemed to start when his brother insisted on changing their arrangement, wanting to take 5 days a week while he only got 2. Originally, he had 3 days and his brother had 4. Lu Donxia was a wife they had bought together. As the younger brother, it was fair he had 1 day less. But his brother was greedy and wanted 5 days. Of course, he disagreed, and they began to argue. Before long, his brother grabbed the machete, looking fierce, shouting that he would kill him. Then, in a moment of rage, he struck his brother down with the axe. Blood spilled everywhere, and the smell of it filled the room. His brother's eyes were wide open, staring at him with anger and disbelief. He could never forget the look in his brother's eyes when he died. Every night, he dreamed of those eyes, and only after drinking could he sleep peacefully. "Wei Shizhu, your brother is behind you. Turn around and look. He is waiting for you." Lu Donxia's voice seemed magical as she walked towards Wei Shizhu while speaking. "You're lying.
He's dead.
I threw him on the mountain, and wild wolves have already eaten him." Although Wei Shizhu acted tough, he looked scared and anxious, stepping back closer to the lake. Tang Nian, hiding behind a tree, guessed Lu Donxia's plan. She wanted to make it look like Wei Shizhu fell into the water after getting drunk. However, she felt something was off with Wei Shizhu. His eyes were bloodshot and wild, and he shouldn't be like this after just 1 bottle of alcohol. "Don't believe me? Look behind you. He's right there." Lu Donxia kept pressing forward and suddenly shouted, "Wei Taizhu." Wei Shizhu jumped in fright, trembling violently, his eyes bloodshot and frantic. He didn't dare turn around, fearing he would see his brother's bloody face and those unblinking eyes. "Brother, it's her fault. Don't come after me."
Ah!
Wei Shizhu kept retreating until he fell into the water with a splash. He struggled desperately in the lake. The cold water jolted him awake, and in his final moments, he seemed to understand many things, his expression turning fearful as he shouted, "You did this on purpose." Lu Donxia coldly watched the man struggling in the water, her expression unchanged. Yes, she did it on purpose. Even if she fell into the mud, she wouldn't give up. Anyone who tried to stop her would face the consequences. After a few minutes of splashing, the man became still, and bubbles rose to the surface before the lake returned to calm.
Help!
Someone has fallen into the water. Lu Donxia shouted, panicking and sweating. The park was empty, with no staff around, just an old man at the ticket booth dozing off. "Is anyone there? Please help him." Lu Donxia was almost in tears. She ran to the ticket booth to ask the old man for help. Startled awake, he quickly called the police and followed Lu Donxia to rescue the man. The old man was a good swimmer and managed to pull Wei Shizhu's body out. Lu Donxia checked for his breath and finally felt relieved. "I'm so upset. How am I going to explain this to my relatives?" Lu Donxia cried as she wiped her tears. The elderly man patted her shoulder and comforted her, saying, "Once someone is gone, they can't come back. You should inform their family." The police arrived quickly. They questioned the elderly man and Lu Donxia. From what they could see, it appeared that Wei Shizhu had drunk too much and accidentally fell into the water, which both the elderly man and Lu Donxia could confirm. This man was so drunk he could barely walk, and the smell of alcohol was overwhelming. The elderly man said, "He is a distant relative who came to borrow money from me. He has a bad temper and loves to drink. I tried to advise him, but he wouldn't listen. It's my fault for buying him alcohol," Lu Donxia said, feeling very guilty. However, since the police arrived, she had stopped crying and appeared calm, though her calmness was mixed with guilt and relief, which was very complicated and did not escape the police's sharp eyes. "What was your relationship with the deceased?" the police asked. "A distant relative." "Why would a distant relative come to the city to borrow money from you?" "I'm the only relative he has in the city, so he must have come to find me." Lu Donxia's answers had no flaws, but the police's suspicion grew stronger. They took Wei Shizhu's body away, and Lu Donxia went with them to give her statement. Tang Nian had been hiding nearby, concealing her presence so well that even the police couldn't find her. After the police and Lu Donxia left, Tang Nian came out. She glanced at the calm lake and took out a small paper bag from her pocket. Inside was a small amount of dark brown powder. The powder was something Tang Nian found on the table at the restaurant where Lu Donxia and Wei Shizhu had eaten. Lu Donxia had poured alcohol for Wei Shizhu, mixing in this powder. Tang Nian didn't recognize the powder, but she guessed that Lu Donxia wouldn't have added it to the drink for no reason. So, when Lu Donxia and Wei Shizhu left the restaurant, she scraped up the powder left on the table. Lu Donxia must have been nervous at the time, as her hand shook a bit while adding the powder, causing some to spill, and she didn't notice. Tang Nian found a nearby hospital, registered for a traditional medicine consultation, and showed the doctor the powder. "Doctor, could you please help me identify this powder? Does it have any effects for enhancing vitality? My mom specially got this and spent $10. She said to soak it in alcohol for my dad to drink. It's supposed to be very nourishing." Tang Nian casually made an excuse, since men at her dad's age need supplements. The doctor smelled the powder, frowned, and said seriously, "This is nonsense. This is powdered sulfur, stalactite, and cinnabar. They are all hot and toxic substances. Who told your mom this ridiculous remedy? It's dangerous and could harm your dad. He shouldn't drink this. It could lead to serious problems." Tang Nian pretended to be shocked and asked in disbelief, "Is it really toxic? My dad has been drinking it for a while and it seems to have some effect. My mom hasn't yelled at anyone these past few days, but before, she would scold anyone, even our dog." The doctor looked at her meaningfully. This girl seemed quite filial. worrying about her parents' matters. These mineral powders are known for their effects on vitality. Have you heard of five-stone powder? Its ingredients are similar to this. If taken for too long, it can cause confusion, erratic behavior, irritability, and even shorten life. Go ask your mom if she wants to be a widow or a living widow. The doctor's tone was stern. He was frustrated with people believing in folk remedies. There are proper hospitals available, yet some still choose to trust so-called folk remedies. Some have a bit of scientific basis, but others are just nonsense and can be dangerous. Tang Nian blushed and said shyly, I understand. I'll pour out the alcohol when I get home. Thank you, doctor. Have your mom bring your dad to the hospital for treatment. Don't always rely on folk remedies. The doctor felt pleased, filled with a sense of accomplishment, having saved another person from a dangerous situation. Okay, thank you, doctor. Tang Nian obediently agreed. She left the hospital with the powder and burned it in a trash can on her way out. Now she understood that Lu Donxia had added the mineral powder to Wei Shizhu's drink, causing him to become confused and possibly hallucinate. Then Lu Donxia used words to manipulate him, leading to his panic and fall into the water. Also, Wei Shizhu mentioned his brother, who seemed to have died accidentally during a fight between the two. But Lu Donxia was present at that time, and Wei Shizhu insisted she was responsible for his brother's death. She must have used these mineral powders too, right? Tang Nian didn't plan to meddle in other people's business. The only reason she wanted to investigate the powder was to satisfy her curiosity. That Wei Shizhu clearly wasn't a good person. If he was dead, so be it. It was none of her concern. Tang Nian drove back to the military district, where Grandma Tang and Aunt Zhang were making mulberry tofu in the yard. Why are you suddenly making this? Tang Nian asked. Zhongjia hasn't tried it, so I'm making it for him, Grandma Tang replied. She had put on a clean plastic bag over her hands and was vigorously kneading a cloth bag filled with mulberry seeds in cold water. The sticky juice that came out mixed with the cold water, forming a transparent, bouncy block. This was the refreshing summer snack known as mulberry tofu. Mulberry tofu. Grandma, I want to eat soybean tofu. Tang Nian wasn't interested in mulberry tofu. She had been craving soybean tofu for a year. Do you want to eat soybean cake instead? Grandma Tang shot her a glare. They were already making mulberry tofu, and she still wanted soybean tofu. That spoiled girl deserved a scolding.
No.
Tang Nian huffed proudly and went back to her room with her bag. Aunt, what is soybean tofu? Should we make some for Nian? Aunt Zhang asked quietly. Just spoil her. Today we eat mulberry tofu, and tomorrow we'll make soybean tofu. Grandma Tang replied grumpily. What kind of girl was this? Even after getting married, she still craved food all the time. Aunt, you spoil her more than I do. I work for my pay and do my job honestly, but you truly care for Nian. Aunt Zhang said with a smile. Grandma Tang's expression softened a bit from her flattery, and she proudly said, I don't spoil her. That girl drives me crazy every day. I just scold her. You may seem fierce, but you care deep down. Aunt Zhang observed closely. She had seen all of Grandma Tang's granddaughters, and it was clear that Grandma Tang favored Tang Nian the most. Among the granddaughters, Tang Nian was also the most promising, so it was normal for the elder to be a bit partial. Tang Nian heard everything from her room, a smile creeping onto her face. She would get to eat soybean tofu tomorrow, and she felt happy. Grandma Tang, can we eat now? Yan Zhongjia's voice rang out, followed by the sound of Jujin, who was sweating profusely after their outing on the mountain. Chill it in the fridge for an hour. Grandma Tang covered the bowl with a cloth and put it in the fridge. After an hour, it would become clear and bouncy mulberry tofu. Aunt Zhang went to pick some mint leaves and crush them into juice, which she would add to the mulberry tofu later. Grandma, Yan Zhongjia said, he wants to stay at my house, and he will pay for his living expenses.
Tang Zuzin shouted.
What's so good about the countryside? Are you tired of living well? Grandma Tang joked, as she quite liked Yan Zhongjia. Grandma, Jiojin says there are many delicious foods in Tang Village. Please agree to let me go back with him, and I'll bring Bai Shui and Fu Bao too, okay? Yan Zhongjia pleaded, and even Grandma Tang's tough heart softened a bit. However, she still didn't agree. It doesn't matter if I agree. Your parents have to agree too. My parents will definitely agree. They never bother about me when I'm at home. I take care of myself. When Yan Zhongjie said this, he looked a bit disappointed, but it was just for a moment. He quickly turned back into his cheerful self. Grandma Tang felt a bit sorry for him. Yan's parents were indeed very busy, often without time to cook. Yan Zhongjie was like a natural at taking care of himself, and thankfully, he had a good character and an open heart. You need to talk to your parents. They have to agree. Okay, I'll have my parents talk to you later. Yan Zhongjie understood and planned to negotiate with his dad that evening. After all, his dad would be happy for him to be out of the house, as he wanted to enjoy time alone with his mom. When Tang Nian woke up from a nap, she heard Yan Zhongjie's loud voice in the yard. This is so delicious. I should have been born in the south. I love all the snacks here. What do you not love? You even sniff Bai Shui's poop. Jiu Jin teased. She had never seen anyone as greedy as Yan Zhongjie, who seemed to have never tasted good food. How can you speak like that? No respect. Grandma Tang frowned and glared at him. Jiu Jin stuck out her tongue, not daring to speak. Grandma, Jiu Jin and I are siblings from different parents, so it's fine. Yan Zhongjie didn't care at all and had a big smile on his face. He had never eaten well, having grown up eating in the cafeteria. Tang Nian came out, and Grandma Tang prepared a bowl for her. She scooped some wood lotus tofu into the bowl, added a few drops of mint juice, and poured in some brown sugar water. It was cool and sweet, making her feel refreshed all over after eating. Grandma, what is Uncle doing? Tang Nian asked about Tang Mantong. After his engagement with Joanna fell through last year, he seemed a bit affected and had been busy running orders outside. While he was unsuccessful in love, he was doing well in his career and had taken on many orders. What else can he do? He's on a business trip. He won't even come back for blind dates and says he won't marry before he's 30. Always talking nonsense. Grandma Tang was frustrated whenever she mentioned her younger son. Was it really worth it to be hurt over someone like Joanna? Fortunately, even though her son was a bit blind to love, he was still determined. Joanna later came back to him, crying and saying it was her parents' idea and that she was forced into it. She claimed she didn't want a dowry or a wedding, just to get a marriage certificate with him. Luckily, her son was firm and not swayed by this widow. Tang Nian didn't express her opinion. She didn't care if her uncle got married, as long as he didn't marry someone foolish. In the case of Joanna, her uncle was still clear-headed enough to realize it wasn't right and stopped in time. And let the younger generation find their own happiness. Don't worry. Besides, Manager Tang is talented and successful. If he wants to find someone, he can anytime. Why rush? Aunt Zhang advised. I'm not in a hurry. Let him be. Grandma Tang huffed. At the door, a head peeked in. Tang Nian recognized it as the eldest daughter of Huangdi. Out of a family of 6, only she and Captain Su were left. Grandma Tang also saw her, sighed, and filled a bowl with wood lotus tofu, walking out to hand it to Su Panu.
Here, eat this.
Thank you. Su Panu hesitated for a moment before taking the wood lotus tofu. Compared to her previous rude behavior, she was much more refined now, dressed neatly and cleanly, looking like a different person. After finishing the wood lotus tofu, Su Panu returned the bowl but didn't leave, occasionally glancing at Tang Jiujin. Do you want more? Grandma Tang asked. No, thank you. Su Panu shook her head and mustered the courage to ask Jiujin, can I play with you? She wanted to play with Tang Jiujin but was afraid of being rejected, which is why she lingered at the door. Sure, but I'm going back home in a few days. Tang Jiujin replied generously, unaware of Su Panu's past. Tang Lao Tai frowned slightly, but didn't speak up to stop them. Adults shouldn't interfere in children's matters. Besides, Su Panu was a bit of a handful. Can we play before you go back home? Su Panu asked. Yes, let's go catch field mice on the mountain later, Jiujin said happily. Thank you. Su Panu smiled widely and said she would go home first and come back quickly. Hurry up. I'll be right back. I need to tell my mom that I made a friend. Su Panner ran off quickly and soon disappeared from sight. Tang Nian found it strange and asked, didn't her mom pass away? She came back to life? Aunt Su found a widow from her hometown who has no children, and she's much better than the last one. Her home is neat, and both Captain Su and his daughter are well taken care of, Aunt Zhang said. I don't know what she thinks, but she seems to be doing well. Su Panner is much more likable now. How a child turns out depends on how the adults raise them. Tang Lao Tai also gave this woman a high rating. Tang Nian curiously asked, when did Captain Su remarry? He remarried less than 100 days after He Huangdi passed away, without a ceremony. Her name is He Taohua, and she's a decent person, though she has had a tough life. Aunt Zhang was well informed and mentioned that He Taohua and He Huangdi were from the same village and were distant relatives. He Taohua married a man who was very ill. Her family was poor, and her 2 brothers couldn't afford brides, so they sold her to the sick man for good luck, getting 200 yuan as a bride price to help her brothers marry. Less than 6 months after she married, the sick man died, and she didn't even get to enjoy her marriage. Her in-laws blamed her for his death and wouldn't allow her to remarry. Aunt Zhang felt sorry for He Taohua, having cruel parents and unkind in-laws. Her life was tough. How did she end up marrying Captain Su then? Tang Nian asked, puzzled. Her father-in-law fell ill, and the family had no money, so they sold her for 50 yuan to Captain Su. 50 yuan for a beautiful girl. Captain Su got a great deal. Aunt Zhang frowned. She didn't like Captain Su and felt he wasn't a good match for He Taohua. I'm back. Su Panner ran in, carrying several steaming meat buns. My mom makes the best meat buns. She puts in a lot of meat. Your mom treats you well, Grandma Tang said with a smile. Yes, she even made me a new dress that I can wear tomorrow. Su Panner called her mom very affectionately, making it seem like she was her real mother. Before He Huangdi passed away, their mother-daughter relationship wasn't this close. Your mom is good to you, so you should be good to her too. Relationships go both ways, Grandma Tang couldn't help but advise. Su Panner only understood part of it, but she replied, when my mom has a baby brother, I'll take care of her. Dad always says he wants a baby brother, and she also wants one. If they have a brother, Dad won't give all the money to her cousins, and they can have meat more often at home. The meat buns were finished by Tang Jiujin and Yan Zhongjia, and they tasted great. He Taohua was clean, and her food was hygienic. Let's go. Jiujin wiped his mouth, waved his hand, and set off with Su Panner and Bai Sui Fu Bao towards the mountain, with Yan Zhongjia following behind. Is He Taohua pregnant? After they left, Grandma Tang asked. No. She told me yesterday that she was worried about not being able to have a child. Captain Su asks her 3 times a day, and she's really stressed. Aunt Zhang shook her head. Grandma Tang scoffed. He can't last 3 minutes and thinks he can have a son? That's wishful thinking. Aunt Zhang also scoffed, looking down on him. He thinks he's something special, always pushing Taohua and saying her body is uncooperative. Men only look up and can't see their own shortcomings. Grandma Tang summed it up wisely. Aunt Zhang agreed wholeheartedly. After Tang Nian finished her with lotus tofu, she returned to her room to continue sleeping. After lying at home for 2 days, she received a call from the police. She thought it was about Gao Yuhui, but it was about Lu Danxia. Comrade Tang, your classmate Lu Danxia is involved in a serious case, and we would like to ask you some questions. Can you come in? Public security is very polite, she said. Tang Nian drove to the police station and found Yuan Hongmei there as well. When she saw her, Yuan Hongmei smiled, but it was a bit forced. Did something happen to Danxia? The police won't say anything. They asked me a lot of questions, and I'm really worried. Once Tang Nian sat down, Yuan Hongmei whispered to her. Don't panic. What did you tell the police? Not much. They asked about Lu Danxia's relationship with the deceased. I don't know, so I said they might be relatives. They also asked about Lu Danxia's daily life, and I answered honestly. Yuan Hongmei looked around and leaned in closer, whispering, Don't tell the police about my call to you. If they get suspicious, it could cause trouble for Danxia. I understand. Tang Nian nodded, as she hadn't planned to mention it anyway. Tang Nian, come over here. A female officer called her for questioning. The questions were similar to what Yuan Hongmei had faced. After the officer finished, Tang Nian asked, so, according to you, the person named Wei fell into the water after drinking too much and died accidentally. Why are you saying my classmate is involved in a homicide? Yuan Hongmei joined in, exclaiming, exactly. It was clearly an accident. Why are you asking so many questions? Thankfully, it's summer vacation. If classmates find out, they might think my friend is a murderer, which would be terrible. Lu Donxia is only a suspect. We are currently gathering evidence and hope you will cooperate with our investigation. The female officer replied. Why is she a suspect? Did she kill that person named Wei? Why would she do that? Lu Donxia is a promising university student. Why would she ruin her future by committing murder? Tang Nian fired off a series of questions, and Yuan Hongmei nodded vigorously, agreeing with her. The young female officer seemed overwhelmed by their questions, and an older officer came over, smiling kindly. Ladies, please don't be nervous. We are just following strict procedures in our investigation. As long as Lu Donxia is innocent, it will not affect her future.
Can we leave now? Tang Nian asked.
Of course. The police treated them well, allowing them to sign and leave. Tang Nian and Yuan Hongmei went straight back to school to find Lu Donxia. Lu Donxia was in her dormitory reading. She seemed calm, focused on her book and taking notes. Tong Xiaofang was not in the dorm, so it was just the three of them. Seeing them, Lu Donxia appeared prepared for the conversation. She closed her book and asked, the police came to see you, right? Yes, they asked about your relationship with that man and we said we didn't know.
Yuan Hongmei hesitated.
She suspected that Lu Donxia's relationship with Wei Shizhu was more than just family, or else the police wouldn't be suspicious. I am not related to him. His name is Wei Shizhu, and he has a brother named Wei Taizhu. They bought me for 50 yuan, and I am their shared wife. Although Lu Donxia's voice was calm, her fists were tightly clenched. Yuan Hongmei was shocked. She had heard about such things from older people, but never expected it to happen to someone she knew.
You.
Weren't you sent to the countryside for work? How could this happen? I went to a remote village in the northwest. It was very backward, and women had a lower status than livestock. Any attractive young woman was mistreated by the village leaders, and no one stood up for us. If we dared to resist, the consequences would be worse. Lu Donxia's eyes were filled with anger. Even though she had escaped that terrible place, she couldn't remain calm when recalling the past. I planned to escape, with 2 other young women. We intended to go to the county to report what happened, but we were caught at night because we didn't know the area well. They locked us in a cave, and every day there were men. Lu Donxia couldn't continue, and her eyes turned red. Don't say any more. It's all in the past. Yuan Hongmei hugged her, feeling regret for asking. This was more painful than reopening old wounds. Lu Donxia continued, we were held for 10 days. The other 2 couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide by hitting their heads against the wall. I was the only one who survived. They were afraid I would try to end my life too, so they sold me to the Wei brothers. They even marked my village records as if I were dead. I used to be called Lu Chuntao. Lu Chuntao is dead. Now Lu Donxia is alive. After I was sold to Wei Shizhu's brothers, they locked me up. Fortunately, they had a disagreement, and during a fight, Wei Shizhu accidentally killed his brother. I took the chance to escape from that village, but I didn't expect him to find me at school. Luckily, he drowned. After sharing her story, Lu Donxia remained calm, as if she were talking about someone else, while Yuan Hongmei couldn't stop crying. It's okay now. It's all in the past, Lu Donxia comforted her. Yes, things will get better from now on, Yuan Hongmei said, wiping her tears, believing Lu Donxia's words.
Tang Nian said nothing.
She knew Lu Donxia wasn't telling the whole truth, but she understood that Lu Donxia was just trying to protect herself. Now she could connect all the dots. Lu Donxia was sold to Wei Shizhu's brothers, pretended to obey, and stirred up trouble between them. She might have even added something to their drinks to make them fight, leading to Wei Shizhu accidentally killing his brother. Lu Donxia then escaped but was found by Wei Shizhu again, and she used her old tricks to get rid of him. Tang Nian admired Lu Donxia for her resilience, decisiveness, and intelligence. She was certainly stronger than most people. In the end, Wei Shizhu's case was closed as an accident. He was left alone, with no one to claim his ashes. Lu Donxia stepped in to take them back and scattered them in a dirty ditch. Lu Donxia went to Zhuqing to meet Wu Wanhua and Sun Dongxiu. However, she returned to Huqing after just a couple of days, carrying 2 large bags of socks, selling them on the streets. Business was good, and she could earn around 10 yuan a day, much better than working in a factory. Tang Nian wasn't surprised at all. Lu Donxia was bold and had her own ideas. She definitely wouldn't just sit in a factory packaging socks. She preferred to earn money with some risk. Wanhua and Dongxiu are too scared to do it. I can handle it myself. If I'm careful, nothing will happen. Lu Donxia explained her reasons for going solo. She had approached Wu Wanhua and Sun Dongxiu, but they were afraid of getting into trouble. But she wasn't scared. She had already dealt with 2 people, and there was nothing left in this world that could frighten her. Just be careful. Tang Nian didn't give any advice. Now the policies have become much more relaxed, and by the end of the year, reform documents will be released. There won't be any more speculation in the future. Soon it was July and the second college entrance exam was over. Yuan Hongmei waited every day for her husband and child. Tong Xiaofang and Gao Yuhui's relationship was getting better. They went out on dates every day. However, her family called, urging her to come home. Only then did Tong Xiaofang go to the train station to buy a ticket. She had tried many times but still couldn't get one, and her mouth was getting sore from the stress. I don't know what's going on. It's not even peak season, yet the tickets are so hard to get, not even standing tickets are available. Tong Xiaofang returned with a gloomy face and complained as soon as she entered the dormitory. It's impossible. My daughter's father managed to get a ticket and even arranged for a sleeper. Yuan Hongmei said, puzzled. The summer peak mainly sees college students returning home. Most students have already left, so sleeper tickets are hard to find, but there shouldn't be a shortage of standing tickets. I've asked 3 times, and each time they say there are no tickets. They don't say when there will be tickets either. They just tell me to wait. If I keep waiting, school will start. The more Tong Xiaofang spoke, the more anxious she became, and her beautiful face showed signs of worry. She had a nagging feeling that something bad was about to happen. Maybe tickets to your home are tighter. Just wait a bit longer. Maybe tickets will be available soon. Yuan Hongmei comforted her. Tong Xiaofang nodded. There was nothing else to do but wait. Traveling from Hu City to her home required several transfers and would take at least 5 or 6 days. The round trip would take almost half a month. She hoped to get a ticket soon. She couldn't wait to go home and tell her parents about Gao Yuhui. 309 Tong Xiaofang, someone is looking for you. The dormitory supervisor's voice came through the speaker. The gloom on Tong Xiaofang's face disappeared instantly, replaced by sweetness. It's hard to say goodbye. Didn't we just have lunch together? Yuan Hongmei teased. He finally managed to get tickets for the movie Chase, and he's been queuing every day. Tong Xiaofang said happily. She took out a mirror to fix her hair, washed her face in the restroom, checked her reflection a few more times, and felt ready before heading downstairs with her bag. After the movie, tell me how it was. I'll take my partner and child to see it too. Yuan Hongmei smiled. I know, bye-bye. Tong Xiaofang ran out of the dormitory like a cheerful little bird. Yuan Hongmei leaned against the windowsill and looked down. Gao Yuhui was standing below, tall and straight. Although he wasn't very tall, he had a gentle and refined presence that matched well with Tong Xiaofang. It seems we'll soon be celebrating Xiaofang's happiness, Yuan Hongmei said with a smile. Lu Donxia was reading. She looked up and smiled but didn't say anything, returning to her book. Now, she was busy selling socks on the streets, which took up a lot of her time. She had to make the most of every moment to study and couldn't let her learning suffer.
Donxia, you should take a break.
Your eyes might get tired. Yuan Hongmei advised. She had never seen anyone as hardworking as Lu Donxia. When the lights went out in the dorm at night, this girl would go read under the hallway light. Often, when Yuan Hongmei got up to use the restroom, she would see Lu Donxia still studying in the corridor. I already took a break during meals. I need to finish this material during the summer vacation. Lu Donxia didn't look up. After earning some money from selling socks, she bought a stack of thick study materials and would dive into them whenever she had free time. You need to balance work and rest. Your health is important. If you push too hard, you might break down. Yuan Hongmei gently advised, worried that Lu Donxia was too stressed and would eventually crack under pressure. I know, but I have no way back. I can only keep moving forward. Stopping means failure. Lu Donxia raised her head, looking serious. Behind her was a deep abyss. While others could take a step back and find relief, for her, stepping back meant losing everything. So, she had to push herself to the limit. Yuan Hongmei sighed and stopped insisting. Continuing would only make her seem insensitive. After thinking for a moment, she took out a pack of milk powder from her drawer, which she had originally bought for a child. Make sure to take care of your nutrition. A healthy body helps you move faster. Yuan Hongmei handed over the milk powder with a gentle smile. Lu Donxia hesitated for a moment but accepted the milk powder, softly saying, "Thank you. Don't mention it. Keep studying. I'll go for a walk," Yuan Hongmei said cheerfully, grabbing her keys and preparing to step out without interrupting Lu Donxia's studies. After she left, Lu Donxia looked at the milk powder on the table. Her cold gaze softened a bit, and her frozen heart began to melt. She smiled and continued reading. After watching the movie, Tong Xiaofeng and Gao Yuhui stepped outside. It was dark, and the area around the cinema was filled with couples. People seemed bolder at night, holding hands and whispering sweet words to each other. Gao Yuhui took Tong Xiaofeng's hand, and they stood close enough to feel each other's breath. "When is your train?" Gao Yuhui asked. "Don't mention it. I've tried buying tickets 3 times and couldn't get any, not even standing tickets." "I'll try again tomorrow," Tong Xiaofeng replied. She had been in a good mood, but mentioning this made her frustrated, and she started complaining to her boyfriend. Gao Yuhui frowned slightly and asked, "It's not peak season, so why can't you get a ticket?" "I wonder too, but I just can't." "I'll check again tomorrow," she said, growing more annoyed. She couldn't help but say, "It's better for you locals. Going home is so easy. You'll be a local too," Gao Yuhui said with a smile. Tong Xiaofeng understood and blushed, playfully looking at him and whispering, "My parents and your parents don't know yet." "My parents will definitely agree and praise me for finding such a beautiful and talented girlfriend," he replied. Tong Xiaofeng felt dizzy from his sweet words, her heart sweeter than honey, and her frustration about the tickets vanished. "I'll go with you to buy tickets tomorrow," she said. Gao Yuhui seemed to think of something, and a shadow crossed his eyes. "Okay," she replied, feeling even happier, completely immersed in the sweetness and happiness of love, unaware that the smile had faded from the man's face and that he seemed a bit impatient. "Xiaofeng, I arranged an internship for you. You can start working when school begins. This opportunity is precious, so make sure to learn well," Gao Yuhui said gently. Tong Xiaofeng was taken aback and asked excitedly, "Is it the project you mentioned last time?" "Yes, I used some connections. Once you start, be sure to learn from your seniors and ask if you don't understand anything. They might be busy, but if you tell me, I can help find answers for you." Gao Yuhui's smile was gently charming, and Tong Xiaofeng was so moved that her eyes became watery. She hesitantly asked, "Why are you so nice to me? You're my girlfriend, my future wife, the person I want to spend my life with. If I don't treat you well, who should I treat well?" Gao Yuhui's affectionate tone made Tong Xiaofeng feel overwhelmed with emotion. She looked around to see if anyone was watching, then stood on her tiptoes and quickly kissed his cheek. The two found a quiet corner to share a tender moment. In the heat of the moment, they almost crossed a line, but Gao Yuhui suggested going to a nearby inn, and Tong Xiaofeng declined. "Let's wait until we get our marriage certificate, okay?" Although Tong Xiaofeng was swept away by her feelings, She remembered her mother's warning that if she acted recklessly before marriage, her mother would be very upset. Okay, I'll listen to you. Gao Yuhui pushed down his frustration, keeping his voice gentle and affectionate. He walked Tong Xiaofeng back to school, then headed into an alley, easily finding his way to a shikumen house. He went upstairs and knocked on a door. A graceful woman opened the door, and as soon as it closed, they embraced tightly, clothes scattered around. An hour later, the storm had passed. Gao Yuhui calmly put on his clothes, transforming back into a refined gentleman. The woman was still lying on the bed, lighting a cigarette and exhaling a cloud of smoke. She teased, "Has Gao Yuhui not won over that college student yet?" Gao Yuhui's expression darkened as he shot her a warning glance. "Has Gao Yuhui's charm faded?
Do you want me to help you?"
The woman exhaled another puff of smoke, ignoring his warning and laughing playfully. "Don't be foolish. If you mess this up, you can forget about going back." Gao Yuhui warned coldly. The woman scoffed, mocking, "Go back? Can we even go back?" "Of course we can," Gao Yuhui replied confidently. He had been told that as long as he could obtain the important data for the military project, he could return home and live a normal life again. Gao Yuhui is still such a naive child. "Good luck." The woman sighed, extinguished her cigarette, turned to pretend to sleep, and added, "Close the door when you leave. We can definitely go back. I've used my connections to secure a spot in the project team. Once we get the important data, we can all return." Gao Yuhui reassured. "Okay." The woman didn't turn around. Her voice was low, as if she were asleep. Gao Yuhui left and closed the door. The woman opened her eyes, slowly turned to her side, looked at the closed door, and sighed softly. Gao Yejuan didn't know that once he stepped into this murky water, there would be no turning back. The best outcome was to live under this false identity. The door opened again. It was Gao Yuhui returning. He said, "You need to go to the train station tomorrow to buy a ticket back to the border. Tong Xiaofeng has tried 3 times and couldn't get one. Didn't you say you have connections at the station?" The woman, who had been lying lazily, suddenly sat up and asked in a low voice, "She couldn't get a ticket?" "Yes, it might be tight right now." Gao Yuhui was surprised by her reaction. Since he met Huizi, she always seemed lazy and unmotivated. Tasks assigned from above that could be done in 3 days, she would stretch to a week. Huizi often said negative things that annoyed him. If she hadn't helped him a lot in the past, he would have reported her long ago. "You've been exposed. Hurry up and leave. Don't come back here." Huizi spoke firmly. She needed to find a way to escape. "That's impossible. I've been very careful. How could I be exposed?" Gao Yuhui refused to believe it. He was confident in himself. During training, he had the best results. He even tested himself in the market and alley, and the local people didn't suspect he was from another country. They thought he was a native. His interactions with Tong Xiaofeng had been normal, without any flaws. There was absolutely no way he could be exposed. "I warned you."
"Leave now."
Huizi sneered, thinking he was a foolishly confident idiot. Gao Yuhui left anxiously. Once he was gone, Huizi changed into a loose coat and put on an elderly disguise, transforming from a charming young woman into a hunched older lady. She took out a bag containing some letters of introduction and documents she planned to use to escape, which she finally needed. Huizi opened the door and walked down the stairs unsteadily. It was completely dark outside, and the alley was empty, with only a dim street light shining. As she walked quietly down the street, 2 plainclothes men stopped her. Huizi was not surprised. Instead, she remained calm and smiled wryly, thinking that they had finally come. She did not resist and followed the 2 men, but when they weren't paying attention, she quietly dropped a broken flower. That night was very quiet, and the residents slept soundly. The next morning, just before dawn, the alley began to stir. The first to emerge was the night soil collector, pushing a cart through the alley. The collector rang a bell, and then each household brought out their used toilets to empty into the cart, cleaning them for use that night. After the night soil cart left, the garbage truck came next, also ringing a bell. Families dumped their day's trash, as this was the only time they could do so. In the hot weather, if garbage wasn't disposed of promptly, it would rot and smell bad. Ding, ding, ding. The familiar sound of the bell rang out, and many people stood at their doors with trash bins, waiting to dump their garbage when the truck arrived. Hey, why is it Master Wang here? Someone noticed that the garbage truck driver was a different person, not the familiar Master Wang. Master Wang is feeling unwell. The new driver wore a hat that covered most of his face, thick work clothes and gloves, with no skin showing. No one suspected anything. Master Wang was older, and it was normal for him to have minor health issues. They disposed of their trash and went back to prepare breakfast, as mornings were the busiest time of the day, leaving no room for delays. The garbage driver moved slowly today, slower than usual. He waited a long time, but did not see the woman come out. His heart sank as he pulled the cart and slowly walked out of the alley. At the corner by the road, he spotted the broken flower. It was a cherry blossom, Huizi's favorite flower, said to be a precious gift from her fiancé, but now it lay forgotten in the corner. The garbage driver's expression changed dramatically. He quickly pulled the cart away, disappearing into another alley, leaving the cart behind. Tang Nian has been living a carefree life lately, even better than a fairy. With Shun Xiao not at home, Grandma Tang took Jiojin back to Tang village, along with Yan Zhongjia. Now it's just her and Aunt Zhong at home. She can sleep as long as she wants and eat whatever she likes, without anyone nagging her. Aunt Zhong, I want dumplings for lunch, with pickled vegetables and meat filling. Already awake but not wanting to get out of bed, Tang Nian ordered through the door.
Got it.
Aunt Zhong replied. For her, making dumplings is easier than cooking stir-fried dishes. After moving to the south, she learned that people here cook several dishes for every meal, even if it's just for one person. They prepare 3 dishes, each in small amounts, with a mix of meat and vegetables, plus soup, which is quite a hassle. Back home, she ate more noodles and less rice, and her stir-frying skills weren't great. She only learned to cook after arriving in the south. Tang Nian happily rolled over in bed, enjoying her fairy-like days. I wonder how Shin Xiao is doing in the southwest? Should I go check on him? After thinking for a moment, she decided against it. Since there hasn't been a formal declaration of war yet, just small-scale conflicts, there's no need for her to join in. She'll go when the real battle starts. The phone rang while Aunt Zhong was preparing the dough, and she called for Tang Nian to answer it.
Hello.
Tang Nian jumped out of bed, and as soon as she picked up, she heard an urgent voice on the other end. Help me. Beep beep. It was Ni Junlin's voice. She only managed to say one sentence before the call dropped, and Tang Nian also heard a slap. Tang Nian called Ming Jinxing, and once connected, she asked, What's going on with Gao Yuhui? He's missing, his accomplices have been caught. Ming Jinxing sounded frustrated. Before the call, he had already scolded his subordinates for losing track of such a big person. He went to the school and took Ni Junlin hostage. There might be other classmates involved. I'm going to check it out now. Tang Nian suspected that Tong Xiaofang might also be taken hostage, but she couldn't figure out how Ni Junlin got involved. Xiao Tang, I sent someone over, you don't. Ming Jinxing hadn't finished speaking when the call ended, and a series of beeping sounds came through. He had to swallow the rest of his words. After all, that girl was skilled and should be fine. He called his subordinates and told them to track down Gao Yuhui. We must ensure the safety of the hostages and Comrade Tang Nian. Ming Jinxing pressed his temples, feeling a bit frustrated. He preferred direct confrontations. Thinking too much was tiring for him since he wasn't very sharp. Darn it, why haven't those troublemakers been dealt with yet? If it came to it, he would volunteer to attack them. Adding another province to Huaxia would be great, so they wouldn't have to deal with endless spies and troubles. Tang Nian drove to the school, first heading to the dormitory. Yuan Hongmei wasn't there. Her husband and child were staying at a guest house for a while. Lu Donxia was reading. Where's Tong Xiaofang? Tang Nian asked from the doorway. Teacher and I called her to the office. When did she call? About an hour ago. Is something wrong? Lu Donxia sensed something was off and put down her book. Nothing, just keep reading. Tang Nian turned to leave. Teacher and I had called 36 minutes ago, and she and Tong Xiaofeng had been taken by Gao Yuhui. Is something wrong with Xiaofeng? Lu Donxia hurried after her. Yes, but don't ask, and don't tell anyone else.
Just pretend you don't know.
Tang Nian's expression was serious. Gao Yuhui likely had a weapon, and she couldn't let Lu Donxia get involved. Okay, be careful. Lu Donxia agreed, understanding Tang Nian's intent. Since she couldn't help, she wouldn't complicate things. Don't worry. Tang Nian smiled and walked away. She first went to Teacher Ni's office. The door was open, the chair was on the floor, the phone's receiver hung in midair, and there was Tong Xiaofeng's bag on the ground, indicating that Gao Yuhui had burst in and taken both of them. It was summer vacation, but there were still many students and teachers on campus. Someone must have seen Gao Yuhui take them. Tang Nian was at the bottom of the teaching building when a man called out to her. People have run to the suburbs. Gao Yuhui has driven away. The man was a subordinate of Ming Jinqing, sent to inform her. Tang Nian nodded and drove towards the suburbs, not paying attention to the plainclothes man behind her, as she preferred to act alone. The plainclothes man smiled wryly. He had hoped to hitch a ride but had no choice but to ride his bicycle towards the suburbs. The two wheels quickly fell behind the four wheels of her car. When Tang Nian arrived in the suburbs, she found an empty car at the foot of the mountain. There was a faint scent of perfume, likely from Ni Junlan. The car was empty, but on a small path up the mountain, she discovered a pink button. There were also several messy footprints, indicating that Ming Jinqing's subordinates had gone up the mountain as well. It seemed Gao Yuhui intended to take 2 hostages through the mountains, but that didn't make sense. Ni Junlan and Tong Xiaofeng were not physically strong enough to be of help. Gao Yuhui wasn't that foolish. Tang Nian furrowed her brow, worried that Ni Junlan and Tong Xiaofeng might be in danger. She quickened her pace up the mountain. Gao Yuhui's original plan was likely to kidnap Tong Xiaofeng and use her as a hostage to escape from the city. However, after being exposed, he must have encountered roadblocks at every intersection. With his escape plan failing, he could only flee through the mountains. Though the mountain wasn't very high, it stretched for dozens of miles, with many villages below. The rural terrain was complex and less manageable than the city, making it a suitable escape route for Gao Yuhui. Once he reached Zhejiang province, he could assume a new identity and disappear. With the country being so vast, capturing him would be like finding a needle in a haystack. Tang Nian wasn't particularly anxious to save them. She wasn't overly concerned about Ni Junlan and Tong Xiaofeng's lives, since they weren't people she cared about. If she could save them, she would. If not, it was no big deal. At that moment, Ni Junlan and Tong Xiaofeng were also on the move. They were bound and had cloth stuffed in their mouths, while Gao Yuhui walked behind them, holding a knife. Move faster. Gao Yuhui's previously gentle face turned fierce, his eyes filled with menace. He hadn't expected the actions in the city to be so swift. He had planned to drive away with the 2 hostages, hoping they could buy him some time if he encountered anyone trying to capture him. He saw a checkpoint at the city exit where every car was being checked. So, he changed his mind at the last minute and took 2 hostages up the mountain. They would cross the mountain, head to Snake Mountain Town, and then go to Zhejiang province to get new identities and leave.
Woo.
Tong Xiaofeng's eyes were filled with anger and disbelief. She still couldn't believe that her boyfriend, who had been so gentle and caring just yesterday, was now holding a knife against her and had slapped Teacher Ni. The fierce look in Gao Yuhui's eyes sent chills down her spine. How could her boyfriend change so drastically? Was Gao Yuhui always pretending, and this was his true self? Ni Junlan glared angrily at Gao Yuhui. She had gone to the school to find Tong Xiaofeng because of an internship project and ended up calling her to the office. Then, this bully showed up and slapped her without warning, leaving her face still stinging. That awful bully. She had never been hit in her life. She needed to find a way to deal with him. Otherwise, both she and Tong Xiaofeng might die on this mountain. With the heat, by the time the police arrived, her beautiful face might be covered in flies. Imagining herself covered in maggots made her shudder, strengthening her resolve to take care of Gao Yuhui. Her father had told her that in dangerous situations, don't panic. Running is the best option. If you can't escape, fight back. Since death was inevitable, it was better to take a chance. Maybe she'd get lucky and survive.
Woo.
I need to use the bathroom. Junlon shouted, but her mouth was covered with cloth, making it hard to speak clearly. Shout again, and I'll make you regret it. Gao Yuhui growled, shaking the sharp knife near her face, almost cutting her. Tong Xiaofang was terrified and cried. She didn't want to die. She had just gotten into college and hadn't even made a name for herself yet.
Woo.
Junlon jumped up, indicating she really needed to go. Just wet yourself. Don't try any tricks. Gao Yuhui scoffed, annoyed they were moving too slowly. He walked ahead, pulling the rope hard, forcing Junlon and Tong Xiaofang to run after him, and they stumbled a few times. Enough! Gao Yuhui shouted in frustration. He looked back, feeling increasingly uneasy. He couldn't delay any longer. He had to deal with these two burdens. Junlon sensed his intent and felt a chill run down her spine. She glanced at Tong Xiaofang, signaling her to fight together. Tong Xiaofang understood her look and nodded slightly. The two charged at Gao Yuhui, ready to take him down together. It was better than dying at his hands. Gao Yuhui was caught off guard and was knocked down by them. However, Junlon was injured by a knife and was bleeding. Tong Xiaofang got up and charged at Gao Yuhui again. She was lucky. The cloth in her mouth fell out, and she bit down hard on Gao Yuhui's ear. Gao Yuhui cried out in pain and stabbed at Tong Xiaofang with his knife, aiming for a vital spot. Junlon rushed in and kicked his hand, causing the dagger to drop. But with her hands still tied, she lost her balance and fell again. When Tang Niannian and a few plainclothes officers arrived, they saw the three of them tangled in a struggle. Fortunately, Gao Yuhui was not very strong, and he was evenly matched with the two women. Tong Xiaofang had bitten off one of his ears, while Junlon had taken a chunk of flesh from his face. Both women were covered in blood, some of it their own, and some of Gao Yuhui's, looking as if they had just eaten raw meat. I'll bite you to death, you scoundrel. Cursed little devil. Junlon was on top of Gao Yuhui, pressing her foot firmly on his neck, while Tong Xiaofang continued to bite his other ear. The three were in a bizarre tangle, locked in a standoff. Tang Niannian raised an eyebrow. These two were surprisingly tough, leaving Gao Yuhui disfigured. You finally made it. Hurry up and help take down this little devil. Seeing Tang Niannian, Junlin's tears of relief flowed. She had witnessed Tang Niannian's fierceness. 10 Gao Yuhui's wouldn't stand a chance against her.
She was saved.
Thank you, party. Thank you, Dad. Tong Xiaofang also shed tears of joy. She wouldn't have to die. She promised to study hard from now on and never date again. Tang Niannian didn't even need to lift a finger. The plainclothes officers subdued Gao Yuhui. Gao Yuhui looked determined. He was ready to bite down on the poison hidden in his back teeth to end his life, but the undercover officers, already aware of his tricks, dislocated his jaw and removed the poison from his mouth. It hurts so much. Am I going to die? As Junlon began to calm down, she finally felt the pain. Looking down, she saw the bloody wound on her stomach, and her face turned pale as she fainted. Teacher and I. Tong Xiaofang cried out in agony, tears filling her eyes. She thought Junlon was really going to die with such a serious injury. How could she survive? It's all my fault for bringing trouble here. I caused teacher, and I to get hurt. Tong Xiaofang felt so guilty that she wanted to apologize with her life, crying uncontrollably, her face smeared with a mix of blood and tears. Tang Niannian had already checked Junlin's injuries. They weren't life-threatening. She didn't tell Tong Xiaofang, knowing she would find out at the hospital. A few undercover officers took Junlon and Tong Xiaofang to the hospital. Gao Yuhui also needed treatment for his wounds, while Tang Niannian returned to the military district, as she still hadn't eaten the dumplings Aunt Zhang made. 2 days later, Tong Xiaofang called, wanting to invite Tang Niannian to dinner. No need, it was just a small favor. Aren't you going home? Tang Nian declined, feeling too lazy to go out in the heat. I have to stay to cooperate with the investigation. I won't be going back this summer. Tong Xiaofang's voice was low, but she secretly felt relieved that she hadn't joined that project team for an internship. Otherwise, she would have been an accomplice and could have ended up in jail. Nian, thank you. Tong Xiaofang sincerely expressed her gratitude. You're welcome. Tang Nian replied, but inside, she was calculating her recent good deeds, planning to settle up later. About 10 days later, Junlon came to visit, bringing some gifts, a box of pastries, a can of malt extract, and a large watermelon in the basket on her bicycle. Tang Nian, come help me with the watermelon. I can't lift it. Junlon called from the door, still in pain from her injuries. Tang Nian lazily came out, carried the watermelon inside, and ignored Junlon behind her. Thanks for your help last time. After entering the house, Junlon awkwardly said this after a moment of hesitation. Aunt Zhang brought over half a chilled watermelon. The watermelon was taken from Tang Nian's face, with red flesh and black seeds, still steaming, looking very tempting. It's really sweet. Your watermelon is sweeter than the ones I buy. Junlon couldn't stop after eating one piece.